Through the prayers of Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Okay. Good evening, everyone. For those who are new here, my name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've worked in Orthodox Apologetics since 1998 and the founder of NFTU, True Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. And we've been in the apologetic space on YouTube since 2018. And let me see here. If you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live, as well as member-requested video reviews. So let's get started. As always, if you want to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. I'll be taking super chats from the YouTube chat. You may have noticed I'm trying something new here. I'm putting in a hard limit tonight. It ends at 10:30 unless we did make our super chat goal. If 20 people manage to, or I don't know how the math works. The whole point is, if we make it to $100, I will stay on an extra hour. Past that, I want to make sure I can keep these kind of as limited as we can. But also, I want to answer everything we can because we always have a lot to talk about. It's been a busy week. I'm exhausted, but let's get started. So first, let's start with the comments. Okay, Recklin Keeson says, I'm early. Cool. Glad you're here. Goran says, sorry if I offended you yesterday. No need to time me out. Oh, no, that was more of a joke because I knew I was ending the stream in like 30 seconds. So I made a joke with it. I wasn't personal. But yeah, if you're genuinely curious, you can always call in. Anyone can. Zelotus, your blessings. God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And thank you for helping support the channel. So now I can say that we are now at currently, hold on, I'm checking all of my things. Okay, I do see, however, this does not count because towards the super chats, I'm kind of going to be hard on that. So I do want to add, because someone was kind enough, we are now at, our target is always starts at 500, but now it is not. It is 457 because we received two kind donations. First from Zelotes and from KK for $40, and so thank you so much for helping keep the lights on. All right, so where were we? Okay, so let's see here. Oh yeah, you're also a member, so your chat goes on the screen. If you're a member, your chat appears. Father Boniface, benedicite, Father, and God, God willing, Father is feeling better. As we all know, a lot of people have been asking about him. He went into surgery last week. He is recovering. Hopefully, if he, wants to say hi via the phone, we may see that today. That'd be great. Matthew asks, Father Boniface, how are you? Kevin Klein says, Father's blessed. God bless you. And the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Ortho Pirate, Father's blessed. God bless you. May the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father Boniface, you've been in our family's prayers. Glad to see you here with us tonight. Yeah, it's great to see him back. And I mean, I'm sure he's kind of still in pain but I'm not going to talk about his personal life. But yeah, he's still recuperating. So Goran says, I'm EO. May I call in? I have no preference. And you can call in and ask questions. You can be an inquirer. You can be a Muslim. You can be an atheist. A Catholic. That's fine. That's what this call-in show is about. Anyone can call in. So click on the link. God bless. Okay. Yep. Matthew says, Goran, the link is in the top of the chat. That is absolutely right. Just click on the link in the top of the chat and you will. Goran says, I just want to know why you hate Serbian? What? Why I hate Serbs? Why would I hate Serbs? I don't hate Serbs. What a weird thing to say. I mean, you can call in and ask that and I'll just tell you you're wrong, I guess. Michael says, Spraznikum, that's right. It is Pentecost. The Feast of Pentecost. Well, it was the Feast of Pentecost. Is ending with the new Vespers. Yeah, Matthew Goran setting off the troll drama, troll alarms. Yeah, I know that's what happened last time, and they were fine. They were just the goofy middleweight questions that are like supposed to be like semi like annoying. Okay, wait a second. Hold on. I think it's Father Boniface. Father Boniface, you okay, Benedicite?
Benedicite, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh, okay. I guess the room. Turn the light on then. The room is dark. I see. We're going to turn the light on. See if you can. Oh, there we go. That's a little better.
Welcome. Okay. Good to see you're there and relaxing. Glory to God.
Yeah.
Back from the hospital. So
Yeah.
good. A
I'm
lot of
lying in
people.
bed. I'm lying in bed. Amazing how the technology allows me to say hi to everybody. I want to express my great appreciation for everyone's prayers. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's going to be a little road of recovery, and I am hurting, but anyway, I can't talk too long. Obviously, I just
Well, we're all happy to see
want to
you. A
rest.
lot
But
of people have been
thanks to
praying for
everyone
you and
again. God
worried.
bless you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a blessing to my heart to have that support. It really is.
Glory to God. I'm glad to see you're getting ready, coming back. And Sava with a member chat. Remember, you can always get your stuff on the screen with member chats or super chats. Machika Blagoslovic, Praznikom, Blagoslovim Bolnash, and he's saying, bless, God bless, say he wants a blessing and happy feast.
And by the way, I have John with me, and he's been taking care of me, and he wants to say hi.
Hi, John. Okay. Hey there, John. Greetings.
Oh,
God bless you.
Hello, Father.
Hello. God bless you. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Been taking care of Father.
That's good. That's good. How's everything going? Okay with that?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's walking around and eating and getting plenty of rest. So,
glory to God. Glory to God. That's good to hear, and it's good to see you. So, greetings, and you want to, no problem.
All right, so I'm going to sign off and just listen, okay?
All right, sounds good, Father.
Benedicite.
All right, let's see here. Alexander comes in with a question. Oh, this is not a super chat, so blessed feast, Father. Question about ROAC. In one of your articles, you mentioned Metropolitan Vitali. Valentine tried to help Metropolitan Vitali back when things were going down. Can you point me in a direction to learn more? Yeah, I would suggest if you can use the Internet Archive and go to monasterypress.org, you can see some of the things in which he was involved, mostly getting Metropolitan Vitali out of the Synod Cathedral so he could get back home to Mansonville in Canada. Hopefully that helps. So you're looking at 2001, basically. Readings. And Goran says, I'm now certain you're in a cult. Sava says, Goran, I don't always read Serbian well, or at all. Goran called in on our last live, I guess it was yesterday, and he asked goofy questions like why, the basics, like, so what makes you different than the real Orthodox Church and stuff like that. Ha ha ha, very funny. And so so I don't hate Serbians. It's the stupidest thing I've heard so far. Goran just wants to see if I'll press the kick button like I did yesterday, but I did that because I was leaving the stream anyway, and I thought it would be funny. Let me see. Reconquista says, Father, why doesn't your synod just come together with the GOCK? Ask your bishops. I mean, I'm literally just a priest. I have no say in any sort of thing. I would direct that to our Greek bishops, and in particular, Archbishop Irenaeus in America. You could ask him. You could add, the point is, it would be better to ask that way, because that would be the communion that would work if they went into communion with the Greeks and we then entered into communion by proxy. Other than that, you really just have to ask them. We're not against talking to them, but it's not like anyone's reached out to us, and that's okay. They've got their own problems. I mean, let's face it, the way things are going, true Orthodoxy is growing in America. Everyone's really busy, so I'm okay with that. Let me see. Sunrise says, I think this question's been asked before. Yeah, it has, but that's fine. Okay, Sava is speaking writing in Serbian, using the Latin lettering. Serbs use both, don't they? I've seen both, Latin and Cyrillic, but I could be wrong. Reconquista says, why not become friends? I'm all for that. I have friends in the GOCK. I'm pretty sure almost everybody in the Synod has some friends in the GOCK. But that's sort of a thing that, goes through the bishops. That's how that works. OTP says, what's up? Oh, don't you know? I mean, you've been writing articles all week. OTP has been busy. Lots of crazy stuff has been happening in the past week. And so, yeah, just what are you going to do? So, I'm saying it's a lot. There's a lot going on. We're in the middle of it now. This, let's see here. Moreover, says speaking in tongues, and Sava says yes, Serbian can be written in Latin or Cyrillic, correct. And Sunrise issues a donut. Yeah, and so I'm not sure what you mean by the keyboard there. It's definitely musical. It's been busy. I will start by, let's see here. If no one's calling in, remember, this is our live Q&A, so anyone can call in and do that. Okay. Sava, I did come on here, but because I wish people to pray for the soul of my grandmother, Anastasia Androvich, who reposed this last Wednesday. I actually did pencil her in for the services today, so I did remember her. OTV says another book coming out next week. LOL. This one is not the Council of Florence. That's the new one. I still have to buy the Council of Florence one because someone sent me money for it. Reconquista says, I saw a video of Greek churches having deaconesses. I guess maybe in Alexandria. I mean, unfortunately, this is what they're doing. Alexander says, slow down. Slow down. I can't keep up. He's prolific. He's prolific. Did we cover the whole like FSB looking write up they did on LiveJournal for him? We probably should. It's pretty funny. Let's see. Rocor MP only took a decade plus to admit the MP is embracing Soviet enthusiasm. Yeah, I know. Goran says, are you jealous of the chattest of Chads, Jay Dyer? No, I'm not jealous of people who are afraid of me. Anyway, Taylor Harden, or John Taylor Harden says, Father bless, now that my face has been exposed, thanks for the prayers for Father Boniface. No problem. We pray for both of you in the services. We're on people on Loud Cave. This is gonna he's going full chat troll. And then he says, OTP says, no, I'm just publishing the first translation of the Rokori service for the 4 hierarchs just so we can use it for later. That was awesome. Yeah, I know. Sunrise said Jay Dyer was on Piers Morgan. Father Joseph wasn't. I'm sorry, Father Joseph. I don't want to be on Piers Morgan. But what I will say is this. If he has time for Piers Morgan, he has time to debate me. That is the reality of things. That is just proof he's a complete coward. Let me see. Reconquista says, Father, why not reach out to Andrew Wilson? He's friends with Jay Dyer for a debate. I believe that's how we actually started by getting on the Crucible, and I think Jay Dyer just ignored it and didn't want to do it. Goran says, serious question. Why haven't you blocked me yet? Because this is a live Q&A. You said you were going to come on stream. What we do here is real open discussion. I block people as a joke because I know they'll come back, but really, I'm willing to I'll take on anyone who challenges me. I'm like not concerned about it. That's why, we have a reputation. Other guys like to say we challenge everyone, but I actually challenge everyone. So, let's see here. Sunrise says, we will get you on Fox News, Father Joseph. I guess if you run me over with a car, I'll make it on Fox News. Jay Dyer, the coward. Yep. Let's see here. When are they going to start expecting everyone to call him St. Jay? Some people are already starting to do that. Did you cover, OTBS, did you cover the Limp encyclical from Rocor MP? No, I did not, but I will. But first, before I get to that, I must first go to YouTube because someone we've covered a few times seems to be genuinely trying. It's almost like he did a YouTube video just to make us answer, just to get our attention. Hold on, give me a moment. Okay, so let's see here. In fact, I want to add that, yeah, you could call it Jeem. You're welcome to call in. Oh, this is his twin, fake Jeem. Okay, well, Sunrise says stop running and debate brother Nathaniel. I don't know. That would be one weird conversation. Michael says William the Immaculate Albright. William actually spurred out on like the last time I tried to call him, which was like a week ago, on his Everyone Can Challenge Us show, and just started calling me names for like 2 minutes straight. So yeah, we will cover the limp encyclical. Certainly, currently working on volume 3 of the Ukrainian Saints right now. Reconquista says fake Jeems from India. What? Okay. Hopefully that should be put up at the end of the month. We'll start on 3 of the Serbian New Martyrs. Tradition Vladika Enoch, Traditional Western Orthodoxy, Blessed Pentecost. Thank you, Vladika. And okay, whoa, hey, what's going on? It's Jeem. How's it going? What can I do?
It's not fake Jeem. I'm actually surviving a fever at the moment, but I wanted to call in and say, hey, is this just a Q&A? Any subject goes, or what are we doing?
Yeah, any subject goes whenever you want to do, when we're doing a Q&A, but because we keep that open. But I was about to do a video review, but that's cool. If you have a question or a comment, or you want to go in.
No, I don't actually have much to ask. Just wanted to pop in and see if there's any scintillating conversation going on. Maybe other people call in as well.
Yeah, we just started.
Okay.
Father Boniface is doing better. There's a few things. We have like a new troll. His name's Goron. He's very impressed with you, but he likes to occasionally just write lots of ridiculous things, and that's okay. We welcome him. So this is Gene's fridge reveal.
What was this thing from William Albrecht? Did you try debating him or something?
I actually tried to call in on his channel. It was I want to say last Friday or something. And so, I just, because I knew he wasn't going to take the call. You have to realize, if you know our real history, we've actually debated twice. Only one of those videos made it, because the other one was a roundtable discussion where he was defending Fatima, and it got to the point where he tried to prove that clothes drying in the sun was a miracle. Where do you go? What is he going to pull out that walrus? Oh, anyway, so after that, basically that was nasty. That was a few years ago. Then, like in the last year, I was actually going to try to debate on the papacy on the Gospel Truth channel. And William Albrecht supposedly accepted. I was like, that's only going to work until he realizes it's me. And so as soon as he did, I was like, this isn't going to happen. But he pretended it did. And then a month later, he's like, I couldn't do it. Of course he could. So now he's doing these live Q&As all the time. So I figured I'd call in on one. And I'm not kidding. He starts getting mad because he's like, well, first off, I completely destroyed you, battered you in that Immaculate Conception debate. Now, 2 weeks before this on Twitter, I was talking about like going back and forth, and some Catholic guy, Murray Rundus, actually found the Immaculate Conception debate. And I was like, oh, shoot, it's still alive. So I grabbed it and I put it on my channel. And so William's like, oh, that's a violation of copyright and stuff. And so I was like, whatever, I don't care. And people started watching it, and it turned out to be a pretty good debate. And then he deleted that because he was embarrassed. But then I called in on his show. And he's like, so yeah, I completely pummeled you in that debate. And I'm like sitting here like in the chat, like I literally have that debate on my channel now. And he's just like, well, he's a schismatic clergy. He's not a real priest. Yeah, so yeah, fake priest Joseph. Like me, I'm literally in the StreamYard waiting to come on. He's just calling me names. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And so that's William Albrecht.
I don't even think he did well against Dr. Joshua Sijuade, even with Sijuade's somewhat weird descriptions and terminology. I still think William didn't do that well. He didn't seem to grasp the distinction. Like, he didn't seem to grasp that monarchia is in fact not Arianism. Because he was like debating an Arian, but Dr. Sijuade is not an Arian.
Hold on. Welcome, Bishop Enoch. Benedicite.
Benedicite.
How's it going?
Fine.
Bless the face. Thank you.
Continue talking. I'll just, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Occasionally, but we haven't seen Bishop Enoch much in like 2-3 years, so this is the most we've seen. I'm so happy that he's back. But anyway, basically, Albrecht is, for lack of a better word, a fraud. The simple reality is, he'll say things like the Sacred Heart is patristic, and then you point out that it was invented in the 13th century, and then he'll be like, but aren't all the fathers really part of the patristic thing? I'm like, no, not your fathers. They're Roman Catholics. They're dumb. I don't. They're not dumb. They're scholastics. But what are you gonna do? Oh, you commented on it. Remember the Albrecht video that he debated about usury and the RCC's changing position about it? No, I actually haven't seen that one. I try to watch less Albrecht the older I get. I'm willing to debate him, but I don't want to watch it.
That was years ago. He had what's his name? The guy who wrote the giant book about usury in the Roman Catholic Church.
Not Hoffman, no.
Yes, Michael Hoffman, and that was when they still had this Father Patrick, who was an Ethiopian priest, I believe, at the time, or an MP priest, I can't remember. And it's sort of like that was when they were portraying themselves as, I guess, neutral or something like that.
Yeah.
But it went really bad because Hoffman was able to show all these documents from the medieval Roman Catholic Church that condemned all usury, all interest, completely universally, without exception. And then you start to get into documents from the Renaissance period, the 15th century and the 16th century, and how the papacy gradually altered its position on all these issues. Now, Hoffman goes into more because he points out there's all kinds of like weird stuff going on in the papacy in the 15th century, like statues of Isis they brought into the papal curia. It's a extremely powerful, large book. It's about 1,000 pages. I would recommend anybody, if you get it, called the Occult Renaissance Church of Rome.
Okay. So what happened? What happened after? Like, what was Albrecht's response? Was he just like, "Oh no, my money market account"?
Well, to Father Patrick's credit, he was like, "Yeah, this is correct." Because what did he have to do? He wasn't going to defend papism.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they just, from what I understand, they took it off. There was also the Fatima one you mentioned. They took off.
Yeah.
Anything that sort of presented a substantial counter narrative to papism was no longer acceptable.
Yeah, but, Michael often just dumps it. Yeah.
So, but anyway. I saw some of Jeem's videos, and so I wanted to ask him a question because he seems to be the only expert we have on the Middle East here.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
I would say that.
I don't really understand a lot of what's happening in Syria right now. So I wanted Jeem to explain: is the guy who is the president or the supposed provisional president of Syria, is he really an ISIS guy? Or is he like a reformed ISIS? Because he seems to be talking to all these world leaders. What is the situation there?
Yeah, great question. That's what's on everybody's minds. I think it's clear that his career was with Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda actually really hated ISIS, so technically they would have been killing each other. But still, Al-Qaeda operates in a somewhat similar framework. They're just Al-Qaeda is kind of the more conservative, like in the traditional sense, the slightly more civilized fanatics, whereas ISIS was just random people from anywhere on earth who wanted an excuse to do jihad. But when this guy took over, he was calling himself Jolani. Now he's Al-Shara. So Jolani, Al-Shara, whatever you want to call him, he's rebranded a lot. He is meeting a lot of world leaders. And he recently did a video debut today where he was processing through a neighborhood, and he had all these unveiled women with him, many of them obviously past puberty, actually women, not just little girls. And he had no problem shaking their hand, giving them a hug. And so I think he's definitely trying to rebrand. And there's been a lot of fanatic groups, either ex-ISIS people or people who were in his interim government who thought this was going to be a jihadi government, who now hate him because they think he's betraying their cause. So what his real opinions are, I don't know. But he's trying to appear as the Western man for the job. And he's annoying and really pissing off a lot of the real jihadis who want his head for being a pagan, basically, and meeting with people that he shouldn't be meeting with.
Oh, wow.
So what's going to happen to the various Christian groups in Syria? Is there going to be any real change with their situation, or what? Yeah,
so when the events that happened in March occurred, there was a little bit of overinflation on the internet where people assumed that whatever was happening to the Alawites happened in the same or greater number of the Christians. In reality, that wasn't the case. Some Christians did get killed in the crossfire, but mainly the damage done to the communities was just in terms of their infrastructure and their economy. How are they going to stay there when the country is not a real country? There's the government has maybe control over 35% of the country. And there's a lot of rogue jihadis still roaming around doing vigilante justice. In fact, the Sunni sheikh, or the imam, who supports Jolani, just 2 days ago, did a fatwa saying it is illegal to do vigilante justice because of how big it had become. All these guys from the Civil War who want to take out their anger on the Alawites or maybe even the Christians, they had to issue a fatwa saying you can't do that. So as for the Christians, it's going to be, sorry, it's not a quick explosion of violence. It'll be more like a slow death, if anything. Just not a lot of opportunity. There may not be opportunity in the government. The economy is not going to do well. So it really all depends. I also will remind you guys that it's only been a few months, and in the Middle East, a few months is nothing. This Jolani guy may not even be there next year. We have no way of telling. For right now, it's stable, but it's like a slow decline.
Yeah, because it seemed like from what the alternative media was saying, Assad was going to be there forever. Like they couldn't get rid of him, and then overnight, the whole thing evaporates. And which is quite surprising. I guess did you expect that to happen? Did you have any inside information that it was about to fall apart, or what?
I didn't expect it to happen. I don't think anybody did, but I wasn't entirely surprised because Bashar's government did not pay its soldiers. They were basically like mercenaries because most of the army are Sunni Muslims, and so they don't like how he's persecuting Sunni Muslims. Whether he's in the right or not is another discussion, but they weren't that loyal to begin with. So when the money dries up, these guys from the north, backed by Turkey originally, seized the opportunity, and Russia was too busy with Zelensky in Ukraine to offer a helping hand. So there wasn't really a choice. So I'm not shocked it happened because of the corruption there. Like a lot of these guys in alt media, like you said, they had a very delusional view of Bashar. They don't know that in the 80s, his father and he himself did a lot of damage to the Christian communities in Lebanon. So they're not these pro-Christian people. They just politically use minorities to their advantage, and it didn't work out in the end.
Yep. Okay. All right. I'm just wondering. It's because you could never tell what was actually transpiring. It was just 3 or 4 different narratives going on.
I agree.
And well, whatever. Okay. Thank you.
All right. That was great. Give me a second here. I'm gonna go through the non-super chats as always. Once again, you can support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or do a super chat. There is a goal on the stage here. If we can get $25 super chats or more, I will stay an extra hour. But if not, we're ending at 10:30 sharp. That's how this goes. No more of this, just one more question. No. It's not allowed anymore.
What time zone are you on?
Eastern.
Okay.
So
it's 9 o'clock for you then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so basically, let's see here. Alexander says, now I'm going to the non-super chat. Alexander says, bro, slow down. I can't keep up. I'm sorry. Broker MP took a decade plus to admit the M3. Okay, wait, I read these. We're on. Let's see. Nope, read those. Let's see, I read those. Okay. Let's see. So what were we up to? So I'm trying to catch up. Now that we got past fake Jeem. Dollar General Jeem. Okay, I missed that. No, real Jeem. Jeem fridge reveal. Okay. A lot of people are very interested in you here, Jeem. Sunrise. Sunrise says, why is a papist calling someone a schismatic? Because that's what he does. It's all selective to him. Let's see. Kevin Klein said Master Bless, as did Saba. Okay, bless over there. Don't be a traitor, Saba. Dumb scholastics, papists, too busy doing science. No such thing as Western Orthodoxy. Au contraire, mon frère. There is indeed real Western Orthodoxy. And as a matter of fact, there's an actual bishop who is in the screen right now who could pretty much tell you everything you want to know about it. But I have a feeling you don't want to know anything about it because most people who don't like it for their own reasons. Red Conquista, I have the book. Gubbanova says they brought a statue of Pachamama more recently. Wouldn't surprise me. Orthopart says tell it to all the Western saints in Orthodoxy. That's correct. Goran apparently attacked Saba. Roman Catholicism has no place in EO. Sunrise says 10 years late on the meme. Polajani, I can't read what you wrote. Roman Catholicism didn't exist in any form until sometime around the 700s, 800s. I would say that that's generally the standard academic view, whereas I tend at least towards a hard view of Roman Catholicism really forming with the rise of Hildebrand in 1080. So Percival says, considering that ISIS has only been bought by the West and now only seems to target Israeli and American targets, that may explain why they're not exactly loved by the Muslims anymore. Apostolic Kingdom says, yo, Jeem is on the stream. Polozadnik saying something to Goran. Goran cursed and then said, I said, speak English. Don't do that. Yeah. Father Antonio says, good evening, Father. Sava says, your blessing, Father. You see his comment on the screen is because he is a member. If you want your comments on the screen, either super chat or become a member.
Did you see the comment after the Apostolic Kingdom? Reconquista Orthodox said the Filioque I believe started in Spain.
That's actually a little earlier. The Filioque, I believe, started in Spain. Leave it to my peeps to create the big schism. Don't blame them too hard. If you look at a lot of the manuscript tradition around Toledo 589, you actually do find, and Bishop Enoch could actually probably delve more into this, that there isn't nearly as much Filioquist language as is assumed. And more importantly, that you don't really see mass insertion of the Filioque into the liturgy until around the 800s or 900s.
Well, the narrative now, where it's caught up with, it's still way behind, is they will say that the Filioque was not put into the creed at 589 in Toledo. That sort of caught up with that. One of the reasons that all the early manuscripts from Third Toledo, which are basically from the 800s or 9th or 10th century, which is like 200 years afterward. I mean, that's still pretty early in terms of finding manuscripts, really. But the early ones don't have the creed with the Filioque. It's the form they use is ex patre procedentum. And just
from the father
proceeding. From the father proceeding. It's not proceded. So they don't have it there. And the main thing so what the now current narrative is that they try to argue that the Filioque was put into the creed in Spain, maybe like in 660s or something like that. But they really don't have a lot of evidence for that either. So it's debated question at this point. So at what point it transpired? I mean, it obviously seems to have been there by the 11th century and such like that.
Yeah.
But you do have, the other problem is that if you find like works by St. Isidore of Seville, there are manuscript variations where some of his works, for example, interdifferent on the differences, does not have the Filioque in his description of the relations of the persons of the Trinity. There's no description, no use of it. But other manuscripts, you can actually see it written in. In fact, you can see where one manuscript they doubled up where they said ex patre Filioque Filioque. All right. So because I think somebody had copied it in and then they put it into the side, because you can actually, there's this whole scholarly pursuit where you can track like an original manuscript and then how people write in the margins. Yep. And a copyist doesn't necessarily, if he's copying, he's just copying what he thinks the text says. All right. So that's a whole other, even the issue about supposedly single immersion baptism is clouded in much more obscurity than people would like to believe, if only due to the fact that the putative letter that is said to have been written by St. Gregory the Great to Leander, that it was challenged for when it first surfaced in like 780. Almost all of the people in France and some of the people in Spain said that it was a forgery by Elipandus, one of the adoptionist leaders.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist in the registry or the early registries, as I understand of St. Gregory's letters, even though they have other letters by him to other leaders. So you can't just say, it would only be in Isidore or be Leander's copy. And even some of the texts by St. Ildefonsus of Toledo, who was the Archbishop of Toledo in the late 600s, his book, I think, which is a series of sermons to catechumens or text to catechumens. Only in like the 11th century do you have this like one section to the side talking about like single immersion or something like that. So even some of those issues are very, very late. They may have not even been done in any real sense. They may have just been some scribe that wrote something. As strange as that may sound, you can actually have that. So you have to be very careful with some of these materials and such. So I always caution people not to jump the gun on many of these points, because that's exactly I think what papism wants people to do. It wants people to assume that the Filioque was always there since like hundreds of years before the schism, and everybody knew about it and was like, oh, great, wonderful. And then the Greeks just got upset in the 11th century, a bunch of over, I don't know, something else. So that's my spiel about it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot of information, but for Reconquista and Governor, I think they really appreciate it. Let me see here. Father Antonius, which is Sava blessing. Goran says, "Why Jeem here with a heretic?" Well, who's a heretic? You're gonna have to be me. You're gonna have to be clearer. Sunrise, 10:30 a.m. Ha you wish. No, I've already done the 6-hour stream. That ain't happening again, unless you donate accordingly. Nice to see Vladika and Jeem with you this evening, Father. Yeah, it is. It's great to see you guys. Jeem, do you have any thoughts or anything? Or are you just following along? Because sometimes people just come to follow along. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm following along. I'm probably going to go in a little bit, but I do. Reconquista Orthodox said any Western saints against the Filioque. I would say St. Hilary of Poitiers has some really good writings where it's abundantly clear. You have to read that as monarchia, otherwise it makes no sense. I would say that.
Yeah. Vladika, are there any later saints in the West who dealt with the Filioque?
What do you mean?
Like like if they noticed the change or anything like that, like in.
No, I can't really think of anybody that was. I mean, I can't tell you for certain.
Okay. I was just curious.
Because generally, like a lot of the saints you have in the later periods, like Saint, let's say, like Saint Dunstan, we don't really have a lot of writings from. We sort of just have the life of the saint. In fact, if you ever read, I think there's a book about the relations between Byzantium and the West, and it covers like the medieval period. Like if you ever look at the 10th century period, which would be interesting, right? Outside of what's his name, that one Italian bishop, the bishop of who visited Constantinople, and they didn't even mention the Filioque in that discussion. There wasn't a lot of high level interactions. I mean, they did interact with Rome a lot.
Okay.
And you did have Greek bishops that went to Germany to visit relics and things like that. So that did happen. But I often think that due to the very fact that you didn't have a lot of discussion about it after the Eighth Ecumenical Council, which was between Pope John VIII and St. Photius, the Eighth Council, that they seemed to be content that the situation was going to be taken care of in some sense.
Right.
All right, because that's often how the church worked. That if you could get the patriarch and his people to agree, we don't like this, we're going to put it into it, then you're going to let them deal with it. All right, and hopefully they deal with it. All right, now as it happened, the whole West went into basically chaos in the 10th century, and it just more or less any kind of, they didn't really have a centralized papacy even before then, but any kind of sort of general order more or less collapsed as old Rome turned into what they called the pornocracy. You had various popes that killed each other, murdered each other.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and go right now. It's nice seeing everybody. All right.
Okay.
All
right. Benedicite. Oh, thank you. Your blessing. Thank you. Oh, and look at this. Right on time. Somebody else comes in. Barnold. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. What's your question today?
Hold on, I'm gonna think of one.
Did you go back to your priest?
My local parish doesn't have a set priest.
Okay. Did you call back your priest and repent, like I said?
My priest, the spiritual father.
Yeah.
I don't have a spiritual father yet.
Okay, so you've changed again. All right. So what's your question this time? Oh, someone called Bumpkinville Synod has joined. Oh, it's fighting time today.
Uh-oh. I was going to say one thing real quick. Mr. Goran demands to know why Jay Dyer blocked you.
Oh, yeah. Well, he blocked me many years ago, and, on Twitter because, He was blocking all the true Orthodox people. But since then, I mean, I've been on his server. There's a video about it. And then he booted us and said, never let these people on again. There's a reason. So, what's your question, Bumpkinville?
I'm making a, I've been making a breakthrough in I'm trying to do some outreach here.
Outreach to who?
To other Orthodox people, and
Okay.
and I'm making a video game, and
Okay.
I figured it'd be pretty cool, and I kind of wanted your thoughts on it.
I don't play video games. I wouldn't have any thoughts.
Okay.
I mean, is it like Pac-Man or something? Because past that, I have no concept. The games are just too complex for an old man like me now.
It's a little bit more complicated. It's kind of like a book, but it's got like pictures as well. But it's like on the screen, so it's kind of a mess, really. But I'm trying my best, and
Okay. I hope God blesses your efforts, and I hope it works out okay. I mean, I'm really not good at I don't know game design or anything. I feel like I can say a prayer for you.
Is it like a playthrough? Like you said, it's kind of like a story, and you walk through it, and there's a narrative going on. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, there's not much walking that goes on though. I mean, the camera kind of moves through each setting that you're in, and it's not that difficult to make or develop. It's made with RimPy, and that's a programming program.
Okay, well,
cool.
God willing, that works out well for you. Did you have any questions for us here on the show?
No, I just.
That's fine. It was good talking to you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Have a great day. If you do have a question, you can always come back later, okay?
Thank you.
No problem. God bless you. Okay, Barnold. Sorry to interrupt there, but what's going on? So, you haven't reached out to your priest yet. You're, I assume, still doing the whole, pretend synod hopping thing when you have a church.
Oh, yeah.
Stop doing that.
Well, I mean, I haven't been hopping from church to church. It's just haven't showed up to church.
Well, you should show up to church. He's not celebrating the new calendar. Don't even try that.
The commemoration of Cyprian is
He's not coming. Okay, Cyprian is literally a bishop in the Ecumenical Synod. The Clinical Synod. What are you going to do? It's a different Cyprian. He's just the local bishop. It's not Cyprian of Filioque. He died.
But they're disciples of his, and it doesn't make me feel right.
Okay. Well, there are other churches in California, man, but I wish you luck. But when people have a church right near them, I just don't see a good reason to leave.
Yeah, with the Cyprian situation, when he in his death casket, my friend told me.
Is this about the mouth open again?
No, it's about a stench from his dead body. And they had to put a fan.
Yes, unfortunately, dead bodies more often than not will stink.
What?
But
yeah,
that's crazy.
But when you see a holy man in a casket, he smells good, right?
Not always, no. But most hierarchs are not saints, so no.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other questions though?
I'll think of another one.
All right. Well, when you do, come on back. See you later.
Thank you.
That was interesting. So he chooses theology based on how you smell when you're dead?
Hey, why not?
Right. I do have to head off and rest a little now, but thanks for hosting me here for...
No problem. Thank you for answering some interesting questions and, giving us an update. Especially, I didn't know Jelani changed his name already. That's freaky. But, yeah. All right. And you feel better. God bless you.
Thank you.
And you have a great rest of your night.
All right. See you guys.
Happy Feast of Pentecost. And soon we'll be fasting. Yeah, it's weird to say Happy Feast of Pentecost when you know it's like 7 fast-free days before another fast, but that's all right. It's a short fast. So I have to keep doing the math over. It's 25 days or something. It's not that bad. All right. Let's see. Goran now has my attention. Goran, who I've seen Jeem on Jay Dyer. Now he's here. He chose a higher quality caliber show. What can I say? It's called Being Civil. The Immaculate Waxed Eyebrow. I have no idea what you're talking about. Goran says, "Are you all feds?" Orthodox to you, maybe. I at dinner. Yeah, I am fed. that earns a freebie. Why not? That's funny. That's funny. Okay. This group isn't large enough to warrant Fed involvement. Not yet, but we're getting there. You know, we only did our 2700 show like 3-4 weeks ago. We're almost at 2800. This is what we want. The army is growing. Goran says, "I'm not suspicious." Great Reconquista, we answered that one. That was a hard one. Sunrise says, "Everyone on the internet is a Fed. Trust me, or a robot. All of them Reconquista. No such thing as Western Orthodoxy. Ever heard of St. Patrick? Yep, very true, Kevin. I heard Father Joseph saying he's against ecumenism. Now what's this? I am against ecumenism. First of all, I disagree on behalf of my synthetic overlords. Okay. Atomic Lead says, "Oh, wow, we G-maxing tonight. Beep boop." First of all, says, "We keep an eye on the beep boopers." Lauren says, "I trust Jay Dyer." Atomic Lead follows up with "Bad life choice." I agree. Jay Aftermaxing, would you explain why you were muted yesterday? When? Was this in the stream I did yesterday? I did unmute myself. It just took me 11 minutes to figure it out. Percival said, "I keep hearing about this Jay Dyer guy. What makes the guy so important?" Not much. YouTube cult. Yeah. Percival, so he's an apologist or something like that? Sort of. Yeah, a lot of fanboys. Yes, these big people make for great entertainment. Moreover, brethren says, Orthobro theology is very new, less than a decade old. Very true. Atomic Lead, squeaky wheel, therefore he gets grease. Percival says, "Wow, I spend plenty of time debunking theism with people, so I've heard quite a few religions, but Orthobro is a new one for me." You're welcome to try to come on, and if you want to debunk theism or something, Percival, we would welcome you to try. Goran, answer me this. Why is Jada? Well, we already covered that. Yeah, Ortho just got it right. You can't commit to you. Reconquista, I did answer that question. I feel like it was answered a different way. Goran says, "Is trying to heal us from within." Who knows? No one knows. OGP, speaking of Filioque, did you see the joint prayer with Gallitzin and the Papists? Was this recent? When was this? Kevin Klein said, "I was in Roe Corps and P Western Right, and I work in civil commitments. Goran reminds me of both types of people. I dealt with them both." Goran says, "Western Right is Gachi." And Ortho just says, "Who's Barnold?" He was a guy who came on a couple of weeks ago. He didn't want to go to his church anymore because, they were associated with the Synod and Resistance, and so he needs to find the truest Orthodox. Barnold, didn't you say that you left the GOCK to go to ROAC? Maybe he's going to the Texas church. Who knows? That's a new one. Kevin Klein says, "Goran just lost my attention." Sunrise says, "Father Joseph plays Minecraft 30 hours a week. Be honest." Oh, I wish I did. I'd have so much more content. I could just talk while playing Minecraft, and people would be like, "Wow." We should watch the video of Jay spazzing on you sometime for context for those who haven't seen it. Maybe that's not a bad idea. But I actually have like a couple of videos I was going to watch. I was going to watch yesterday's thing that happened, the day before yesterday's, so that we have like the Islam thing on our tape, and then we can copy it and clip it. Reconquista's father, you need to play Metal Gear Solid. There's actually predictive programming in it. Okay. Big Boss. Remember Metal Gear Solid, the original. Loved it. MGS was the bomb. Good game. Was that the Stellar Stalker PDA sound? This is going down the nerdy rabbit hole. MGS had predictive programming info. Hope that kid's game goes well. Barnold sounds just like John Mumkey. I swear, no. I don't think it's him. I'm pretty sure it's not. Ortho Joe says, "Oh, this guy." Percival says, "Nerdy rabbit holes are treasure troves of information." Alexander S. says, "ODB played the first level on a disc." And I forgot I got to put up my group comments. Let me see here. Did play the Why Do You Leave GOCK? He went on a really weird tangent. If you're talking about Mumkey or this, well, you're talking about this guy. This guy left because he just got into the whole like Cyprianism rabbit hole, but there are no Cyprianites anymore. More of a brother said, I did play the NES MGS and got nowhere. His face was like open like Battletoad. Mouth was open like Battletoad when they face a boss. The pathway to hell is led by priests and bishops. But my lord, he stinketh, said Ortho Pirate. Remember, if you want your comment on the screen, just become a member or send a super chat. Goran says, I'm still flabbergasted to see Jeem here. He's been here before. Anyway, Death to Compromise says, LOL Pirate. Alexander says, yes, it's the last Wing Wednesday till Nativity. Really? I mean, there's only, it's only, the Apostles' Fast is only like, oh, I see, because it's Wednesday. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or the just civil discourse. Cleave to Antiquity says that's like the brother of Karamazov. They slandered the elder when he died by saying his body stunk, so he must have been wicked. Father Antonio says he pops on occasionally. Gordon says, don't you guys have a different calendar? Yeah, we have the church calendar. Sunrise says, yeah, the church calendar, not the papist one. Father Antonio says, exactly. Cleave to Antiquity. This whole Cyprianism thing is weird at this hour. SAR is gone. Get over it. OTP says, I was directed at Goran. Goran, why won't you make yourself clear? I don't know what I'm doing to not be clear. Bumpkinville Synod said, hey, everyone, I was really nervous. It kind of made me sick, but I wanted to share my idea with everyone and wanted to hear everyone's thoughts. Okay. They're all good. Governor said I had to step away from it, but catching up. Do appreciate the info, Vatican Father. Thank you. Percival, sorry. Sadly, I can't do it that way. Fed Joseph, I can't debate that theism or real is not, as that's not the atheistic position. The correct position for me is to take to address claims made to me. Okay, and here we are. Okay, welcome back, Barnold.
Thank you.
What's your question?
So more about the Cyprian casket. Saint Jerome said the mouths of heretics are forever gaping.
Yeah. Okay, that was referring to them when they're alive. Because the mouths of heretics are always talking, is what he meant. He was always insulting heretics. All right, we got our first of the night from Reconquista Orthodox. Father, I think it's time for a video game stream. MGS2. I've never played it, so I don't know if I'd be good at it. And also, that's the, it looks like it might have been the first of our $5 super chats. So 19 to go if we're going to stay for another hour. All right, so what else did you have besides a quote from St. Jerome being used incorrectly?
Well, I mean, doesn't that quote line up with Cyprian's casket?
No, because as I mentioned, the reason his mouth was opened was because of a ventilator when he died.
How could a ventilator be that big, though?
A ventilator goes into your throat. It's your mouth is literally forced open.
But the what's that word called when you die and your skin
Rigor
hardens?
mortis.
Yeah,
right.
rigor
We don't
mortis.
know the reason why his mouth was open. We simply don't. I mean, that's my suspicion. Ortho Adjust with another $5 to help keep the lights on. We are down to 18, and I've got to update the thingamabob. All right.
My dad actually said when you have rigor mortis, the mouth closes.
Okay, I assume that's if there's
Doesn't
nothing
open.
else in the mouth. If there's something forcing the mouth open, then I assume it would stay open with rigor mortis.
Did he die in a coma, or did
Yes.
he die? So his mouth would close, though.
No, it had the ventilator in it.
But they took it out, though.
After he died, yeah.
Okay, I'll do more research on this.
I don't think you should make this a hill to die on. I think, honestly, the situation's been resolved. The church is part of the GOC, and just go there. I mean, if you want to look for excuses to find another church, you can, but it's not a responsible way to do things.
But his position, Cyprian's position, he said
Cyprian,
World Orthodox.
and is he alive?
No.
And
But
has that been resolved with the greater GOC Clinicos Synod? Did they not resolve that?
It's still ongoing, though.
They didn't. It's not ongoing. They resolved it. They literally resolved it.
But the Synod and Resistance had nowhere else to go besides join GOCK.
No, they could have stayed on their own. they had other options. There were other synods they could have talked to, but that's the one they wanted to talk to. And they wanted to resolve their situation, and their situation is now that they're just a missionary diocese of the GOC.
There's a but Cyprian, like I said last time, Cyprian still said world orthodoxy isn't completely graceless.
Okay. I don't want to get into kind of a paper war over a dead cleric, a reposed cleric. I think that, you clearly want to find something other than the SI or the church you're part of, which is GOC now. If that's what you want, then why pretend to argue with me?
Well,
you're not going
because
to be right.
like the Bible says, the blind lead the blind.
Right. Okay, that's great. And I would say that you're being led by the blind, and that's why you sound the way you do.
But is ROAC or GOCM or BOSVR, like, is that the blind leading the blind, though?
You can quote names, but really what it is are you on like a Discord server with people? Be honest.
Yes.
Okay. You're not really being led by ROAC or the GOC. You're being led by your friends online. Go back to call your priest, repent of what you've done. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're back. Let me see here. Orthopirate for $5 supporting the channel. And that is, he says, Barnold, you should never begin a premise with a conclusion. Yeah, we already saw this. We're not going to play Act 2 of it. So I am adding Orthopirate there. And then I'm going to get to the next one. So we are now 17 away from doing another hour. I don't think I'm going to do it. We have an hour and 3 minutes left. So I cannot see 17 people coming in with $5 super chats all of a sudden. Let me see here. Reconquista Orthodox says Battletoad mouth. Is that a? I don't understand the Battletoad thing. But thank you for the super chat, $2. We will add that to the total. So now we're down to 440. And let's see what we got. Let's see if we can get anything else going on. And we will start reading more comments because I am missing comments here. And then hopefully I can get to at least one of the videos that I'd like to get to today. Let's take a look here. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to do more stuff during the week. And then it's a surprise and y'all don't know about it. All right. Let's see. I'm still confused about you guys, says Goran. Stan, or just a Stan, you learn more. Kevin Klein says, let me ask you this. Does the church have authority to bring converts into the church? Goran says, am I making a fool of myself? Vromo says, Recon, what synod are you in? Recon says, Goran, if you stay, you will become true Orthodox. Kevin says, I'm asking you, Goran. Michael says, this kid has lost his mind. Ortho Joe says, he needs to chat with the priest at his GOCK parish. He needs to call him. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Goran says, I'm still confused, though. Barnold says, we don't have a set priest, but you had a priest you mentioned last time. I think you said his name is Father Theohatus, and you were going to call him. Or the OTP says, terminally on Discord. Geo says, yep, very true. Reconquista says, GOCK. Sunrise says, Goran, Father Joseph is not a papist. People in traditional Western Orthodoxy are taking priestesses and practices from the West, not post-schism ones like World Orthodoxy. Very true. OTP says, he'll be in our talk before no time. Hello. And Ortho just says, Barnold, is it a mission? I believe it's actually an established parish. So says, I will point out one of the things we read last night was the Holy Spirit came to destroy the discord and bring harmony. Destroy the discord. Just saying. Romagata says, let them know, GOCK, how you speak judging corpse. Very true. Yeah, I mean, that was just weird. I don't know why he did that. Say, Goran says, okay, where can I learn more then? Let me see. OGB says, NFTU sent you a text with the Galitzin link. Let me check in. And let me get back here. Okay. Let's see. Kevin Collins says, that's evident. The answer is yes. Therefore, the church has the authority to bring in converts from Old Catholic, Catholic, Protestant, etc., and the authority to bring in the rites of Percival said, "I've got to say, I got to say, I'm impressed. I think this is the first time I've been part of a theistic chat and not been pounced on for admitting that I'm an atheist. I'd like to say thanks to you for to all of you for that. Believe it or not, Percival, we have atheists and former atheists in here all the time. So you're welcome, and you're always welcome to stick around, or jump in if you want." Kevin Klein says, "The past and the West." Ortho just says, "Civil discourse, my friend." Saba says, "What did everyone bring for Pentecost Trapezo? We had Dora Watt, tortilla soup, pork, and homemade ice cream. I had like eggs and sausage and ice cream here in Louisiana. Potato salad. All right. So everyone's, this is a good day for, eating stuff. Had pork chops, and there's been all sorts of good stuff. So if you want to talk about that, you can. I am looking here to see if I have a message. There it is. Okay. We got something here. We're going to put it up from, oh, brother. We got to put it up. Here he is. It's Prince Gallitzin himself. Let's see. Yep. Rock B.S. Bazar, which is, condemn Cyprian and Cyprianism, thought, though be it. Yeah, but Cyprianism doesn't really exist anymore. So now it's weird because it makes everyone uncomfortable. But in any case, it's going to get strange. Goran says, "LOL, I'm still none the wiser." Sarah says, "If you call in Father Joseph, might be able to explain it better." Ortho Just says, "OTB blog is a good place to start. Very much so. Let us share the screen that Subdeacon Victorious just sent. And look at that. Look at this lovely picture. Look at them. Look at this, so cute. Unum Sint. Catholic and Orthodox churches pray together in Flint." And it says, "On Saturday, May 31st, Bishop Earl Boyea and Archbishop Alexander Golitsyn of the Bulgarian Orthodox Diocese of Toledo, pictured above, gathered with clergy and lay faithful from the Catholic and Orthodox churches at St. Matthew in Flint to recall the 1700th anniversary of the First Ecumenical Council in Nicaea in AD 325, writes Father Anthony Strauss, pastor of St. Matthew, June 3rd. There was music from both Catholic and Orthodox traditions, a reflection from Bishop Boyea and Archbishop Alexander about the meaning and importance of Nicaea the First, the recitation of Our Father in Greek, Latin, Slavonic, and English, and then a common recitation of the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, minus the Filioque, by all present. Clergy and laity alike found the event a beautiful expression of our common Christian heritage for the first 1,000 years of Christianity. Well, there's a picture of them there, and they look all pretty happy there surrounding the piano. I like the piano. Okay. All right, so that was fun. Let's remove that. That was awful. Let me see what else we got here. I can't believe Bishop Alexander was my former bishop. You would think cancer would make you decide not to be a heretic anymore. You would think. Alexander said, "I didn't bring anything, but it was really good. Some lamb stew, even, I think." Michael comes in with $2 to help help grow the stream. Thank you so much for that, and I will add you to the total. No comment there, and let's go. One moment. We're now down to 438. I think I'm going to be getting off early, and I think it's going to be fine. Hold on, and I need to go to the comments and *6. And okay, Michael and Reconquistas. I'll go back to the banners. We change Reconquistas to a 7. We change Michael to a 2. We change the 438. Let me just double check this. Now I'm starting to wonder. Nope, that's correct. 438 is the target now, and as I mentioned, if by 10:30, oh wait, no, it's over. It's over, chat. It's over. We had an hour. We had an hour to get 20 super chats to make it to go to 11. I'll make you a deal. If we can get to 125 total, so that would be, it would say 375 left. I'll do another hour. Okay. I'll just because I don't know how the goal thing works either, and I'm not good at this, so but I'm down with it. Let's see. Let's see here. All right. I heard it was in BSR, Rose, GSM, and Goraf and NFL. Okay, that's Lauren says okay. OTP publications. Little Sheep's Flag says, and even then, if Cyprianism is a heresy, that means HSR or ordinations are null. But yeah, this has kind of been. Okay, I'm going to stop the stream. Kevin says, I refer to you, St. John Maximovich, you consecrated bishops and ordained clergy for Western Rite in France during the Gallican Rite. Yep. Lauren says, I will look. OTP says, the Rocor MP encyclical. Okay. Hold on. That's next. That'll have to be next. I wish I could do video reviews. I'm not going to have enough time to do the video reviews. That means I'm going to have to work on Monday. All right. Okay. I still can't believe that Father Joseph said St. Paisius was a charlatan. That messed me up. Oh, it was meant to mess you up. But the truth is, I wasn't kidding. He, not only did a lot of false prophecies, he wandered around doing false prophecies with his circulation of fans. The only reason they really propped him up is because they have a huge industry around him. So follow the money. That's all it is. OTP says he's not a saint. Orthodox just says, nope. Reconquista says, how much money would we need? Why? Zelotus comes in with $12. That's a big amount. Let's go and let's look at we can get the target down to $3.75. I will stay for another hour. Zelotus's addition of $12 means that we are now at 426. 426. Make it to the end of the night, and make it to 10:30. If we can make it to 375, I will stay for another hour. I think that's more than fair. Because that'll be 125. You divide that up by 3. That comes out to around like $40 an hour, and I'm okay with staying for $40 an hour. Because this is all I do. So this is the only way I make money. I stopped doing DoorDash because I want to take care of the car. I sell incense, and I just finished one Lord's order. I'm sending out another one next week, and then I'm sending out the gift orders, and I don't do that. Sunrise says, yes, Elder Pace is a pseudo-saint. Read about Bishop Philaretos meeting him. That's on the Artalk Europe blog. OTP says, Goran wrote a whole article on it on my website. That's the Orthodox Traditionalist blog. Sunrise, who is Philaret? Bishop Philaretos, Bishop of Artalk. Orthodox said he also didn't want to die on Mount Athos, lol, and he didn't. How much do we need for 375? Right now it is 426, so 375 would be $51. And so let me see here. World Orthodox do love him. Yeah, they do. And the problem is one thing you'll realize, Goran, if you read a lot more monastic fathers, a lot of the stuff he says is the same stuff that they've always said. It's like truth mixed in with falsehood. World Orthodox do love him. Hunter Tyler says, looking for an Orthodox church to attend to in my area under the Greek Archdiocese of America. I wanted the American Carpatho Russian, the ACROD. Okay to go to any of these. If not, what do I do? Thank you. Hunter, can you give us a basic breakdown of your area? Obviously, you don't want to dox yourself, but if you would like to give us kind of a generality to work with, sometimes the chat is faster than me at finding a local parish, unless there isn't. Appa, hold on. You're making insane, Father Joseph? I want some. Yeah, I'm not making insane. But anyway, I'm going insane. Near St. Clairsville, Ohio. Okay. There are churches in Ohio. I know that. St. Clairsville. Guys, if you know St. Clairsville faster than I do, and I have to look this up, then I will figure it out. Okay. So we know that St. Clairsville is in. Okay, you see, Brave AI is so dumb. It's like St. Clairsville is located in the United States. You don't say. Let me see here. Where is St. Clairsville, Belmont County? Show map of Ohio. Okay, so it's like the kind of the straight up east part of Ohio. Like it's not north and it's not south, it's central. Okay, Fimama. Okay. Southeast from Canton. All right, let me see. Let's see. Anyone that got one of those updated maps? Yeah, interesting was actually here's what the case of false prophecy, Eastern Orthodoxy, and how that are seeing how that's handled. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Really, we encourage skepticism here. If you can wait till Thursday, Father, I can get paid that day. Just hold the stream till then. I have a lot to do. I've never done this before where I'm trying to see if I can get a total. And I'm uncomfortable doing it on a promise. I mean, if people really want me to make larger streams, we'll have to work on it. Okay, let me see. Yeah, there's Metropolitan Nicholas of Cincinnati. That's Cincinnati. That's Central. Then there's the Avlona Parish in Columbus and a GOCK church in Cleveland. Okay, so either way, it's going to be some driving. But what about Pittsburgh? Are there any? Because he's near the border, Saba. That's a possibility. So we want to do that. Let me see here. Yeah, we know where the Icrad Church is in St. Clairsville. 100. Let me see here. You have one in Independence, Ohio. Yeah, that's near. Yeah. Let me see. St. Herman of Alaska. Why would he be a fraud? Warren, oh, you're getting very clever with these. Why would St. Herman of Alaska be a fraud? Miracles are still occurring through the intercessions of St. Herman. Elder Gabriel, it's an interesting one. A lot of people say yes, a lot of people say no. The Patriarchate, unfortunately, Patrick Elia himself was under the KGB, so the glorification is questionable, but he may be in the calendar of saints and we just don't know. Hold on. Oh, you wanted incense. Yeah, okay. If you want incense, I will. If you email me, I can. If we go by your address, I can try to send you a little gift thing, but and I can tell you the prices. Actually, that's what I can do that. So send me an email with your address. I'll see what I can do. All right. What else have we got here? It's probably okay. Let me see here. Little Sheep's Flock says there's probably also a theater close to you where you can pretend you're Orthodox like the rest of the circuses mentioned. Well, that was uncalled for. I mean, who are you under? It's something you're gonna get something ridiculous. Oh well, I'm under Archbishop Boniface, or let's get to that Rocor. Let's get to that Rocor encyclical that I am pretty tired of looking at. English version. All right. Ready. Let's pop it up, make it big. Okay, let's see a little smaller so we can move it. All right, so basically, I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'll include a link, basically in the chat. But why I don't, it's speaking of theater. Basically, it is a letter from the Rocor MP where they're backtracking on their full-throated acceptance of ecumenism. So unfortunately, that's what's it called? Basically, they're talking about the resurgence of communist symbols, love for Sergius, so on and so forth. And trying to say, don't back down and we must keep our traditional, positions and so on and so forth. But you're under the Moscow Patriarchate. And do they condemn the Moscow Patriarchate? No, they don't condemn the Moscow Patriarchate. They talk about the Stalin statue, so on and so forth. This is stuff we talked about, and now they're started suddenly magically. They're like, "Oh, you're right. We too don't want the SARS shot," like this Soviet professor says, and it all rings hollow because it's it took so much noise for them to react. Goran says, "Who are your saints then?" We have plenty of saints. Try going to the orthodoxtraditionalist.com blog for some new saints. I highly recommend that. But yeah. So, all right. So here we are. Let's put this up on the. Let's close this out. Hold on. And so that goes. Let me see here, and I am going to play this banner one more time. The target is target's 426 right now. If we get the target down to 375, I will do one more hour. If we get that down to that, because then we will have succeeded, and I will have an excuse for when I am told, "Why am I still streaming on late at night?" I can say, "We brought 125 to the total." So. Let's see. Let me do Goran. We all call him Father PP Hears. Okay. You mentioned Yuri Vizamensky is condemning this article, even though Putin has said much worse. Also true. Kevin says, Goran, you need to read up to the new calendar controversies first to understand all of this. Yep. Goran says, still so elusive. There's nothing elusive about it. It's called do your homework. Like, you've come on saying some goofy things. And so I think it's perfectly fair to say, Goran, do your homework. Sunrise says, too late, Roker MP. You already joined a pseudo church set up by communists who hate God. OTP says, my article on this Roker MP encyclical has been read 2,000 times so far. So yeah, if you want background on that article, feel free. Everyone go to Orthodox Traditionalist Publications blog, and let me actually pull that up, and I will put a link to it as well. Let me see here. I believe this is the article, so I shall link it. If you want to learn more and practice your reading, kids, feel free. And there you go. Give that to Goran. Goran can go read that. Reading is fundamental. It will help, and it will help you a lot. Okay, based on Sola Pascalian and other silliness. All right, so once again, now I'm going to finally get to the video review that I was going to do. So let's go back and let's get to that. And this person named it so snidely, it was almost as if he wanted to get our attention. And I believe that because I asked him if he wanted to get our attention. And it seemed he did. And that is Banter with Bojan, who apparently decided to write something about Esphigmenou, do a video on Esphigmenou, and I was like, okay, he's definitely trying to get on our nerves. So let's go and let's see.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fortis Banter with Bojan, and welcome to another edition of Snide Comments. So, I received a comment on the recent video on St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai, and this one, well, I'm very opinionated about, and I thought I'd share, my answer with all of you. So, the comment I received was, hard to feel sympathy to the monks of St. Catherine's Monastery, given the persecution that Esphigmenou Monastery has faced for years. If you don't know, Esphigmenou Monastery is a monastery on Mount Athos. It is the sole monastery there that's not in communion with the Ecumenical Patriarchate, and the Ecumenical Patriarchate has been trying to evict monks with police force for 2 decades or so, and it's caused a lot of controversy. So somebody asked, how do you mean? And Leonidas responds, for years, Patriarch Bartholomew, he put that in quotations, has been trying to use the Greek police to try to evict the monastery of Esphigmenou on Mount Athos because they've refused to commemorate the Patriarch of Constantinople since 1972. What I'm saying is that it's difficult to feel sympathy for the monks of St. Catherine's on Sinai when the monks of Esphigmenou have been persecuted by the Fanar for years. Fanar being this little, municipality in Istanbul, where the Ecumenical Patriarchate is located, and it's generally used as a designation when somebody is irate with the Ecumenical Patriarchate, unlike myself, who prefer to call him the Patriarch of Istanbul. In my defense, I practically don't like any patriarch. So
why don't you just join us? Someone just put in the chat, and I know I'm seeing some stuff in the chat, but Frank Perella says the Protestants keep hitting hard. Think Kelly Powers is his name, who wants to debate Catholic and Eastern Orthodox. Is Kelly Powers on right now? Okay. Well, you can let us know. You can smell the estrogen. Oh, come on. OTP is cruel. That's cruel. I mean, that's just cruel. And sorry, he's not a member yet. I should have put that on the screen. Anyway, let me see here. Let's see. Why does anyone take Bojan serious than anything? He's the male sister Vasa. Okay, wow. Just wow. His father here is Jabe's brother, or is that Steven Seagal looking at as his father? Yeah, I don't know what Jay's father looks like. Wow, this is crazy. Well, people are getting salty in the chat. Bojan is the guy on the screen, or Bojan is the guy on the screen who doesn't want to talk about Esphigmenou.
Leonidas continues after some back and forth with other people in the comments. I don't expect monks of Mount Sinai to speak about the persecution at Esphigmenou, although that would be nice if they did. I'm just saying it's hypocritical for world Orthodox like Bojan to expect us Orthodox who aren't in communion with Fanar to sympathize with the monks of Mount Sinai when the monks of Esphigmenou have been persecuted by their own so-called Orthodox brothers for decades. Why don't the monks of Esphigmenou get the same sympathy and support? Because they're schismatics and insubordinate, apparently. Oh boy. Okay. If you're new to the channel, and when I say new, I mean new or haven't followed every video since the inception of this channel, you need to know.
I guess that's all of us, because I don't know anyone who's watched every single one of this stuff.
Something I have said in video number 2042 or whatever, that I actually, when I started going to church, I was rather tempted to join the Zealot or so-called all-calendarist movement here in Serbia. Them being Orthodox who are not in communion with the mainstream, or as Leonidas calls them, world Orthodox. And thanks to the grace of God, I did not fall for this trap. By the way, the Serbian church does use the old calendar, so in Serbian, when we say old calendarists, it's usually in a pejorative way, indicating that they're not in communion with the church. Okay, a couple of things here. First things first. I've read somewhere that one cannot do a good deed without somebody accusing him or her of why didn't you do some other good deed, and you can always see and hear this. The split second somebody, for example, donates money, I know, for Gaza, somebody will say, well, don't you have the poor in your own city, in your own family? And there are myriads of examples of this, like myriads. And I honestly believe that this is a bit of a Judas complex. So it's not, oh, why was this money wasted, but why wasn't it used for this other thing that I support or like, or there's usually some agenda behind this other option. And it's similar here. Just because
does anyone know what he's talking about? I'm just gonna skip here, maybe.
Started acting as a priest despite the suspension. Sometimes injustices happen, and the irony is that us Christians can cause greater injustice or infraction or sin.
Would you believe it's
if we go against that injustice?
Oh no, it's not.
yes, Athegonaris was bad. You know, when it comes to like this purity of faith with his all of his ecumenism, yes, it was bad.
Yeah, now
And
it's
yes,
worse.
it's also bad under Patriarch Bartholomew.
Yeah.
However, you know, at least until there's active liturgical participation, I don't think that commemoration needs to cease. But this is just me. Again, I'm just a guy on the internet.
They literally do liturgical commemorations of each other twice a year minimum. I mean, does he know any of this? Okay.
It seems weird that, for example, a Catholic archbishop will be invited as a guest to like some Christmas liturgy, but an old Caladarist won't, because that Catholic archbishop isn't doing like active missionary activity among the Orthodox, even though they did do that in the past.
They're actually
But
still
the
doing
old
it. That's not
Calendarists
true.
persist,
That's
you know,
false.
and they cause issues. They call, they call kind of friendly distance with a non-Orthodox. It's like you do you, whatever, but we do not need to pray together. It causes so much scandal, and to what purpose? It causes so many schisms. And without prayers, that's a huge irony. You could be on friendly terms. You could like have conferences together, simply hang out, like attend a mass or vice versa as a guest without any of the like vestments. And even though those are very often again used by the true Orthodox as proofs of apostasy, it's really not. However, when you actually
Okay, I'm done. Basically, Bayan here is trying to explain why we're so awful and rotten. The joke of it is that even though Sinai did not, according to what he said, make any statement in support of Esphigmenou did in fact research the issue. They asked around with their contacts in that area, found that Sinai was being mistreated by the new Muslim government and being pushed out. There are only 20 monks there, and also sent over their prayers of support for the monks of Sinai. So eat it, Boyan. Anyway, let's see what we've got here in the chat. Let me see. Okay, let me see here. Looking for stuff. Okay, male sister Vasa. That's me. But was it accurate? Is the question. Banter with Bunyan. Albrecht did the thing about an Eastern guy. Almost got an Eastern Orthodox guy to change. I was shocked. If it was one of the Ortho bros, they don't have. They're everything is Paisius to them. Yeah, no one here. So that's the best description I've ever heard of this dude. The male sister Vasa is accurate as ever. Wow, that's unfair. He's not a monastic. Let me see. Nice neck beard, cheese Klein. Is it good? Goat milk raw is best. All right, Frank. Just throw that out there. Hey, we're good. Oh, one of the communist church instead. And says I never met a Jew with my name. You got goats, Frank. My Matushka's Jewish. Says Orthodox. Pope Calendarius jokes are hilarious though. That Jesus was Jewish, tribe of Judah. Can't blame me for being suspicious. I have neck bears and I'm T.O. I assume you mean neck beard. Frank Rowe asks, when is Jay Dyer going to debate? I'm sure Pints with Aquinas would host it. Oh, I bet they would. But would Jay Dyer show up? No. We're now on 9 days plus 8 days, 17 days. 17 days of trying to get Jay Dyer to debate. And I'm going to start making a little sign for every show that I do. So today it's 17 days that we've been asking to get him on. OTB says, oh, wow, this guy's sassy, LOL. Hey. Yeah, it is, Percival, yes. Ortho just says, yas, queen. Slay queen, okay. Alexander, if it works just soft face with a neck beard is bad. Frank says you should debunk the Kelly Powers video saying he's calling Eastern Orthodox and Catholic people chicken. I don't know, man. We run out of time. So far, it looks like we're going to run out of time soon because it's 10 o'clock. I got half an hour to go. and $61 to make it to 125. So let me see here. By the way, I was joking about, $41 an hour because of the 3 hours. I actually have to do other things for which I get paid nothing. So it all balances out. 500 a week is just, I think, fair. So Taylor Harden John says, I think you're right about the estrogen. Alexander says, I'm making it work. Governor says, so you have only have a problem with Ashkenazi, not Sephardi, etc. Goran says, yes. He says, he's a bit sassy for a World Orthodox guy. Governor says, why? Assuming they're in the church, there's no difference between Jew and Gentile. Goran, from pattern recognition. Oh, brother. It's hard to follow, but what he's saying is what he's raising and brushing off, misrepresenting the canons and the actions of the Eucharist. Ecumenists, modernists, and C's, yeah. Kevin says, Goran, I might ask if you're allowed your children. Percival said, I would not argue that it's not relevant as to what sect of Judaism he was. Was his message relevant, accurate, etc.? I think that's more important. Orthodox Traditions Publications is Reconquista. Él es super gay. Definitivamente tiene esposo. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's unfair. I never heard of there being a Mrs. Boyan, unless he is. He's not Mrs. Boyan. Stop it. Lauren says, I knew you hated Serbs. I mean, Boyan's not all Serbs. There are lots of really cool Serbs. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a cool. He's kind of a dork. OTP says, Voss ain't a monastic either. LOL. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Let me see. Atomic Lead says, handshake, true Orthodox, and Sedes, dynamic silence from Jay Dyer. Yeah, but we got silence from the Sedes too, so they won't even shake our hand. Yeah, we need it's been 17 days since Jay refuses to debate counters. I guess I could create one. Why not? Hold on. No. Let's see how that looks. All right. So you got that. We're 28 minutes. I'll tell you, it's a good question actually. First of all, I'm curious, why is it such a big deal to get a debate with this guy? Is it a matter of viewership? Are we wanting to address legitimate points he's made on things? Otherwise, why bother? You're actually that's correct. It's not so much about the even the visibility as it is he's told countless lies about us for years. And he got caught in it big time on a show with Ruslan where he just lied about us nonstop, which is what began this debate challenge. It would be one thing if he was misinformed. It's another thing when he's actively lying to try to hurt people. Then it becomes personal because those are my people. Let me see here. More of a brother said, admitting you hate Serbs is the first step. Okay, he says, I don't hate Serbs. Once I toasted how they make liver. Wait, what? Once I tasted how they make liver, it's delicious. Yeah, that's fair. Hello. Correct. Said his handshake, Jay Dyer, dynamic silence to true orthodoxy. That's right. Good job, Atomic Lead. Said his won't want us to submit to an authority they believe is vacant. But recognizes as boy on drag race? Oof. Oh, that was hoitful. This is hoitful stuff, gentlemen. All right, so let's put up that again and remind everyone, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Just look in the description, and we'll see. Let me see. Frank Perella says, you're the only Eastern Orthodox that actually can debate. I don't know if that's true, but thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I watched you on the Catholic Christian channel the one day. Did you know Dr. James Lakutis passed last year? I didn't. Wow. We have had correspondence in the past. There was a little time where I know that I think James Lakutis spoke on Craig's channel. And I actually reached out to him to see about following up with the debate. And he didn't quite remember me, even though we had public letters on the old internet that were pretty well read by thousands. But he also didn't sound like he was in the best of shape. And so I said, just don't worry about it. You take care. And he didn't seem like. I mean, I'm going to be honest. The letter didn't seem lucid, totally lucid. He was being polite, but it seemed like he was, it's a kind of a fuzzy mind sort of writing. So I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but he lived a long time. I mean, I think James Lakutis might have been like 94 or 95. He was around a while. I might be wrong. He might be younger than that, but I can check. Let me see. December 11, 1928. He was 96 years old. Wow. I don't think I'd live that long, but when I say the old internet, Reconquista, 56K modems. There was no streaming really. There were, very, very little video. This is well before YouTube, well before Facebook. Facebook was only invented in 2009. And so, I would say the old internet. We're going back to something like the old internet, which is good. Let me see. Goran says, you're all Zionist feds who hate Jay Dyer. I'm certain now you want to undermine EO. Okay. I'll make you a deal. He's just trying to troll the chat. Let me see here. There's a note here. Hold on. Okay. Okay. And Kevin, I just saw your message. Yeah. Let me see here. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. What is this? Okay, that's useless. Useless. Gotta move on and get back to here. No, he's angry. He thought that we would freak out and block him. Honestly, we're just disagreeing with him. OTP says Rocor and GOC had a hierarchical liturgy today in Brazil. Definitely outside of the 5 JD is lying about. Yeah, absolutely. It's common. This is so sad. I didn't even think this was worth responding to. Obvious ruling is obvious. We need to pray for him. Lord of mercy, Lord of mercy, Lord of mercy. Matthew says, "Hold it together, Goran." Yeah, he's getting mad. I feel bad, but this is how this is kind of how people just sort of melt online. Goran says, "Strange." It is strange. Yeah. Saba says, I've been to more than 5 true Orthodox churches in the last 6 months. Yeah, it's true. But, that's why we're going to keep up this beautiful, been to more than, okay, fair enough. And so I am going to keep this banner up. This is my new banner. Goran, are you really Boyan? That's on, I don't even know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But the point is this new banner, I think, is going to become a standard thing. So I'm going to be using that. OTB says exactly. I'm giving a talk at another one in a few months. Well, cool. Going into public speaking and stuff. That was something I kind of always wished to do, but I'm glad to see more people are doing it. It's kind of awesome. But yeah. So. All right, well, we are in the 39th minute of the second hour. And so, other than that, we're just, we're going along. Let's see. Goran, you're giving Seth the energy right now. Let me see here. Ortho Pirate says you should put the banner up top so it doesn't cover your face. Let me see if I can do that. Mm-hmm. Trying to. All right, I need to see what these are. No. No. Okay. So that's that. Can I move anything else? What's this do? Oh, wow. Huh. Check that out. Now I can do extra layout. See, now it's got my face and it's got that. And now I can add those comments. Ooh, I like this setup. Let me see if this is working. Why it's not working. But it looks like, yeah. Let me see here. Look at that. Never been asked. That's cool. But yeah. All right. Now I have a, called it about, yeah, Father Joseph called it about Ogre Paisius. Look at this. We got a new setup. And I'm like, my face is sort of on it. And the chat's also on it. Watching some full screen. Just relaxing. And I guess I should probably edit this banner because now it's too small. Really? How many? There we go. All right. Look at this. This is so complete now. Oh, sorry about that. Oh shit. Okay. Anyway. So excuse my language. I heard the dog kind of growling. And I'm directly over the dog, which means that I can't move. It is she can get vicious. I was complaining about my finger, which is starting to recover, as you can see, because she kind of tore up part of my finger. Let me see here. Maybe Father Andrew will one day. Yeah, nice. A lot of people use this setup while they play video games. I've seen that. This is new for StreamYard, though, making changes like this. Let me see here. In-person interview part 2. Oh, yeah, that would be cool to do that. Do a Father Andrew interview. Father, not sure what I should do with my Paisios icons from when I was World Orthodox. What should I do with it? Honestly, I mean, you have two choices. If you didn't spend too much on them, then I would just put them in the back of a World Orthodox church or something, just like I would do with a Roman Catholic. If you did spend a lot and they are worth something, I'm not averse to using eBay. So that's what I would recommend. Always sell them. Why are these Ortho Bros always so buttered? No idea. Ortho Bro Pope. It might be funny to have an actual sign in the background with days Dyer as an accepted debate. Yeah, but this is free. Like that involves making a sign. I guess I could come up make like one with cardboard and stuff. I could put it next to the icon there. Let me see here. I have read a lot of good things, a lot of things I don't understand, some questionable things. Let's see. Alexander, OTV come from wings during after nativity. Saba, a whiteboard with eraser, haha. Michael, what about St. Gabriel of Georgia? Elder Gabriel of Georgia, we would say, because some people have a positive disposition and we don't recognize the glorification by patriarchalia. Saba says, I have a whiteboard if you want me to send you one. Believe it or not, I have one. It's in front of me. I barely use it. It would probably work. I could probably use that. That might be a thing. I don't know, enough space. Yeah, it looks like there's enough space. All right. Let me see. Exactly, Michael. Make Jewish money off Paisios. Guys, I'm not even making Goyish money off Paisios right now. But yeah, you could make some money if they were expensive, so you don't waste it. Gabriel of Georgia died in communion with the surgeons. Yes, that's true. Well, I don't know how true that is. I mean, well, yeah, probably, I guess. Yeah, basically. Sava says I have a small one. I have one that will fit that size. I just have to actually use it. Lebanon says, what's the heresy? Reckon he says, I will sell my Paisios money, icons for Jewish money, then donate to NFTU. I will take it. You are a cult. Sure. Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says, chat is better when Goron is blocked. Ortho just says, he's confused. Goran says, you're like the JWs. Percival says, what do you define as a cult? Krekaki says, banter with Goron. Ortho just says, dang, dudes, learn some history. Governor says, honestly, good idea. He just said, we're like JWs, just pure trolling. But I did say to Goron that basically, I canceled them last time because it was the end of the stream. And I have to say that the chances of us going down to 375 in 14 minutes are extremely low. So the stream will be ending in 14 minutes. Goron has spent some time here, trying to troll, trying to be all a bad boy, etc. So he's going to be putting time out. Bye-bye. Did I kill the stream or something? Okay, here are the lives. All right, Goron was removed. And then Dimitri wrote, you reject Padre Pio. I did, yeah, more of a brother says, I'd be okay with cults if it's always not going to devolve into perv stuff. Yeah, so John said, you're a retard. What now? F in the chat for Goron. Yeah, we got to do a video. We're going to do a video review real quick, Father. We tried to. Michael says, is Sheila Boof a saint? He is not. We don't have time for a video review. We've got 13 minutes. Unless somebody's willing to go in there to send, if we can get together 51 more dollars. If we can do $51, I thought it was 61, but it's $51. We can get like 5 people to donate $10, or like 10 people to donate $5, or like 15 people to donate $2. Then I'll stay on for another hour. Otherwise, it ends at 10:30. In Shia's mind, he's much more than a, yeah, I'm sure. Ortho Adjust says, check out a Bigfoot vlog, LOL. I don't understand. You want me to go watch a Bigfoot vlog? Oh gosh, the Christian King. Who was here for the last time we went for the Christian King? That was like our 6-hour stream, wasn't it? The overnight stream, and then we ended up going into like a room that was like a waiting room, and he never brought us on. We waited like a half an hour. So I was like, what a joke. No. Michael said, I thought Jay Dyer said he donated the first $51. No. Jay Dyer would not donate $51 to a fund where I'm saying, let's debate Jay Dyer. This is not realistic. Not realistic. Oh. All right, the dog is left, so I'll be able to move around after. Did you see the video game Catholic Saint? I did not even know there was such a video game. That's a weird video game. Why don't we just all in this group jump into the stream? His stream's over. I saw he was streaming at around 7. I don't think he is now. If he is, that'd be great. He twisted the church fathers at Christian King. Well, yeah, that's why I don't think he wanted me on. He looks for some of these channels, like Deconstruction Zone, which we will be releasing a video on. I did a stream with the Machine Lies where we actually covered the Deconstruction Zone video because we've been getting way too many complaints saying I'm hiding things. So I am putting that up, God willing, tomorrow. yeah, the Christian King is like, he looks for suckers, and I think he was never going to let me on once he had the chance. Yeah. But I do like the way this looks. I mean, is there other stuff we can add to it? Like, can we make it longer, or I'm curious. Now that we have a stream that like kind of looks good. Like, we should maybe if I put another NFTU logo like right on the right hand side, and then with the chat, I mean, that would look fire. Okay, maybe fire is the. I'm kind of old to be saying things like fire. But the Christian King, is he the Marble King? No. The Marble King is a fantasy character who gave hope to a defeated nation for 200 years, and the Christian King is a grifter on YouTube. So, but I mean, is grifting, if asking for money is grifting, then I be grifting. So that's all I can say. It is now 10:21 Eastern Standard Time, 9 minutes to go. We're hoping for a last minute crazy Christmas miracle that will keep me on for another hour. Maybe I'll watch a what was it? It was some Bigfoot stream. Oh, da bomb instead of fire. Wow. Oh, da bomb. That's old now. That was the bomb. And I never said the bomb. I would say the, because a lot of people in the 90s did say the. They'd be like, that's the bomb. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, so yeah, very fair. Dope is 90s era slang. Dope is also early 80s era slang. So yeah, that's dope. But they still say dope, I think. I think dope is still around. The bomb, not so much. Percival says, I'm glad to hear you say that, Joseph. I can respect anyone who is at least honest about what they do, regardless of whether I agree or not with the platform. Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people are doing it. I think we're providing a valuable service. We answer lots of questions. Michael says, can we renegotiate the 51? What's your bottom dollar? I mean, no, I don't think so, because I have to explain. I often had streams where it came close to like 100. That's very common. So, but what I don't have are streams that go an additional hour. All right. OTP says, I'm out of here. I have to go back to real life in the morning. Have a good night. God bless. Ortho Pirate says, I'm waiting for my Chinko jeans to be back in vogue again. Yeah, keep on waiting on that one. Chinko jeans, by the way, were like really large, baggy, almost bell-bottomy jeans. They had a really weird look, and skaters loved them. Saba says the kids these days say lit, I believe. I believe they do, yes. Speaking of slang, Biggie Smalls had some very questionable lyrics back in the day. Everyone did in the 90s. Yeah, I'm sure they did. I mean, I wasn't a big Biggie fan, but a lot of 90s music was vulgar. So to answer Michael, I can't really do it, because even if I dropped it down to where I just made 100, my wife would be like, you had another hour, you went past like the late time, because I try not to stream past 11. Yeah. Or then, since he was with Sean Combs, no surprise. Yeah. Well, but people didn't know about how bad how deep the rabbit hole went back then. So yeah. Other than that, I'm trying to see if there are any other questions, comments, challenges. This is it. This is your moment, guys. Because as of now, the new policy is going to be straight 2 hours on Sundays, and I'm going to announce it, and it will be 8:30 every time. And other stuff that we do during the week is gravy. But you will know that I am always here. I'm always here for you. Okay. Let me see. Father, not only was it vulgar, it was borderline gay. And Percival says borderline. Oh, you're being too kind. Yeah, so, I mean, there was a lot of that in the 90s. Now that's the bomb. Triggers the Bush era Homeland Security app on our phone. Oh boy. That's crazy. Let me see here. Peter here's wears Chinko jeans with Jay Dyer at the Ortho meetings. A lot of wacky sometimes. All right. So that's that's what it looks like how it's gonna end. I'm gonna put in this support to the channel. And let's see here. And this is gonna become a regular thing. The days Dyer hasn't accepted. I'm gonna be putting that up regularly. If I do come on the screen, I will have to remind myself, I'll have to count back from Sunday. Yeah, we're gonna keep the ticker going for at least 10 minutes of every Sunday stream, and depending on what we're talking about, I will add that to other weekday things we do. And so, yeah, let's see here. Father, it's time for an extra hour of content. Wait, what happened? Did somebody donate? Oh, shoot. Oh. What is this? What is this? Oh, defeated. $49.99. Father, it's time for an extra hour of content. Out of nowhere, he came out of the shadows, and he just popped in with $50. We got to update our target. And now it has jumped to something that we were not expecting. Hold on. And now it's jumped to 65. And we are now reducing this to $376. That's still $1 short, guys. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. That was fun, though. If anyone wants to throw in $1, though, I won't be mad. So well done. Well done. Reconquista Orthodox coming in with $49.99 to bring us back. In the last 3 minutes, too. That was as exciting as an NBA final. Yeah, we're so back. And just for that, this extra hour, I will be putting up all of the comments, even if they're not super chat. So we're going to move on down. And we're going to go through Alexander S. We're so back. Oh, what? Okay. AS just sent $5. So we have now gone well over the actual amount that was targeted. So we are now at $371 because of a donation on PayPal for $5. And so this is crazy. Yeah, and if you remember, if you want to donate but save money on the donation so you're not 30% doesn't go to YouTube, you can always use PayPal, Cash App, or one of the 3 big cryptos. Just go to NFTU.net and scroll to the bottom. All right. Let me see here. Winrec, very generous of you. Yo, Michael, did you go on the Orthodox Muslim channel? I did. Do you guys want to watch with me? It's about 27 minutes long. Why won't Jay Dyer debate you? Because he's afraid of us. I have to get up early. I like the streams. Christ is risen. Truly is risen. Awesome. And I'll look up your guy. What happened to the debate with the Mohammedan? Interesting. He did actually write me back this morning and said that he had just gotten too busy with things and will try to reach out sometime to schedule. So he didn't exactly run away, but he's busy with stuff. And I see he was just streaming earlier today too. So he stays busy, evangelizing Islam. We got to do the same for Christianity, for Orthodoxy. Based. Goran needs to see a video of Jay shutting down, trying to talk to you. Yeah, he really does. Maybe we should watch that. We can always watch that again, but I don't know if he's here because I booted him. Because I thought we were done for the day, okay? We're so back. It's called Conversation with OC award-winning Jay Dyer, ending sort of cringe. And wasn't it a cringe ending? Good night, Father. Please remember the recently reposed handmaiden Anastasia in your prayers, everyone. We have and we will. Memory eternal to Anastasia, the grandmother of Sava. Yes, put it on, please. Okay, does Jay Dyer go to an OCA church? Debate Cotel. I like Cotel. He's actually had me on before. Shocker. We did a. He was doing a show on immigration, Orthodox immigration in America. And wait, so how did you come back here? Oh, I guess because you were just deleted for like 15 minutes. All right, so we'll do the Jay Dyer one first, so you can watch it. We'll make your hero cry. Let's do that. Let's make your hero cry. MP, haha. David Erhan, LOL. Actually, when I was going for the Crucible debate, I was actually told by the mods at the Crucible, David Erhan wrote them saying, "Don't let him on." That's how afraid of me he was. He didn't even want to not debate me. He didn't want me on. That coward. That giant coward. You know, that's it. You know, I'm gonna play the Muslim guy first because he's new, he's relevant, and we all know. So let's go to the Orthodox Muslim clip, and people can watch that, and then I'll have it so I can clip it. Ortho. Hold on. YouTube. Okay, so here we are. And let us see here. Doobie-doo. Was in his, let me see, lives. It's this one. All right, so give you the background. He had been going on an hour. And let me put this on. Present. He had been going on an hour, and I managed to pop on. And he was arguing with a guy about Hosea. And he was arguing something kind of weird. And so let me go to. Okay. So right about here, they're arguing about the meaning of Baal in Hosea.
It says that. It does say that. He
Okay,
said,
so
"You
then
will
you
no
can't.
longer call me Baal."
So good. So then you can't call God Baal anymore. That's an inappropriate word.
I don't. I would. I can even concede to that point. I can even concede to that.
Good.
It was a dumb
Good.
idea to
So
concede
then
to that
you
point.
could use the meaning of the
You want to know
word.
why?
He did not want, you see, he shifted this guy away from the fact that Baal in Hosea is actually a Canaanite deity that they were worshiping instead of God. Is that DJ Khaled? No, he looks a little skinnier when you see him like in the front face, but he does kind of look like it there. We need the best music. All right. Anyway. All right. So let's go.
Concede to that
Wait,
point.
one sec. I'm just landing here. So the word itself, you don't use anymore, but the meaning is correct, right? So the word Father, we don't use anymore, but the meaning that is maker and creator is correct.
Okay. Here's the thing, right? I could concede to that point, right? Because like you guys.
Oh, this is too far back. It's going to be
That is unlawful, not the meaning. Do you understand? The term itself is unlawful.
I did hear you. I did hear you. I did understand.
So both Baal and Father, those terms are unlawful, but their meanings are correct. Do you understand?
I definitely understand where you're coming from. However, right, words have meaning, right? And so for you to say, the meaning is true, but the word is false.
I didn't say the word is false. I said the word, sir. I said the word
is no longer valid. It's no longer.
I said the word is unlawful, just like you just conceded. Baal is unlawful, dude. Are you not tracking or what?
I'm tracking. I'm here with you, bro. I'm here with you. I'm right there with you, man. I swear I'm not slow, man. I'm right here with you. I got a master's degree, bro. Here's the fact.
All right, TJ. Thank you for coming, man. Thank you. Yeah, I can't do it, bro. Can't do
we
it.
the best. All I do is win.
This is funny.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you kind of see. You can't stop seeing it.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Hi.
How's it going, man? How's it going, Mr. Joseph Sweden? Sweden, is that? Nice. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. And what's your name?
My name is Liiano. You can call me Liiano.
Okay, Liiano. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess this is a defend. It just said defend your religion.
Yeah.
Now the argument you were having with the last guy on Baal, I didn't quite understand the context behind it.
Yeah, so he was arguing that Jesus could have not been a Muslim because Jesus called his God Father.
But Jesus is God for us, and so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
I
understand that, sir.
Okay.
So his argument was that Jesus called God Father, and therefore he does not qualify to be a Muslim. And I said, well, we don't actually have a problem with Jesus calling God Father, nor the prophets calling God Father, as long as it was said and meant in the correct sense, which the prophets are infallible and they don't say what is wrong about God.
Did any other prophet call him Father?
Of course.
Which one?
Isaiah and Moses.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Now this was from you had a thing from Hosea, correct?
Yeah, Hosea chapter 2.
Chapter 2. And if we look at the context of that verse, that was 16, I think you said. 2:16.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And so like we get to the beginning of the chapter and we get to verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And so this is a chapter which is using these the actions of an unfaithful woman as a comparison to the Israelites being unfaithful to God, correct?
That's right.
And so in that we see, chapter, verse 8, so corn, wine, and oil, multiplied silver and gold used in the service of Baal. And then we see, obviously he's issuing a corrective. He's taking away what is rightfully his as opposed to Baal's. Verse 10 is about her unfaithfulness.
Yeah.
And then we get to 13, visiting her upon her the days of Baalim, to whom she burnt incense.
Yeah.
This is, again, these are references to unfaithfulness. So my question is, how does verse 16 apply? They weren't supposed to worship Baal. They weren't supposed to call him Baal.
I never claimed that they worshipped Baal. No.
But they did.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't say that they worshipped. That they thought that God was Baal and that God told them to worship.
Well, but they were praying to Baal. That's the whole point of the chapter.
So why does God say, "Don't call me Baal anymore"?
Because he's not Baal.
So
Baal is a false god.
Yeah, they called him Baal.
They literally went to worship false gods.
No, not worship. Not talking about that. Did they call the God of Israel Baal?
Okay, what does it matter if they called him the god?
Did they do that or not?
Yeah, they did. They were wrong. That's the whole point.
They're not wrong because
they're absolute. The whole point of the prophecy is that they're wrong.
Just one second. We're gonna see about that. Okay.
Yeah. Just go to the first part of the chapter.
Yeah, no, we're not just gonna do that. We're gonna pull it up here in 1 second. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We're in Isaiah 54:5, where God says,
why are we moving from Hosea?
To give context.
So the context is in Hosea.
That's right. Well, can you just calm down, sir? Thank you.
I can.
Yeah, so just calm down. I'm just going to read the text, okay? Thank you so much.
I'm calm.
So it says, for your maker...
The old ticker.
Yeah, for your maker is your husband. Do you know the word used for husband in the Hebrew?
No, I don't know Hebrew.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. The word right here is, it's Baal.
Really?
Really? Because Baal...
No. Can you scroll out a little bit?
Yep, there we go. We're in Isaiah. It's used in Genesis and Deuteronomy 22.
All right, let's try this. I realize that.
Here we go. Wait. Isaiah 54:5. That's an occurrence. For your husband is your maker. The word is your Baal. So
Okay.
God uses the
here.
term.
Okay, let's
yeah,
try this. If I may,
just let me finish my point, please.
Sure.
The point is, God uses the Hebrew term Baal and applies it to himself because the term simply means husband or master in the Hebrew. However, because of its idolatrous association with false deities, he tells the Israelites to not use this name no longer.
Can I? You good now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you know what meat is?
Meat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you.
You eat meat?
You eat meat. Yeah, I ate meat today.
Have you ever gone to meet with a person to eat meat?
Yeah, I went to meet with a person with a double E. Yeah, that's
right. It doesn't. You see, the thing is, what you're doing is using a homonym to deny the existence.
It's not a homonym.
It is a. Okay.
It's not a homonym.
A homonym is a similar sounding word.
But it's not. This is not a similar sound.
No. Okay, you cannot
Do you
deny.
want me to establish that? Do you want me to substantiate that? You're claiming that this is a homonym. I'm saying no. It's not just a similar sounding word. It is the same word.
Are you saying that there was no Canaanite deity named Baal?
No, you're missing the point. I'm saying the deity is called Baal, and in that context, that's a proper name. But in Hebrew, there is a word that means master or husband. In Hosea chapter 2, God says, don't use this word anymore. Instead, use Ishi. Ishi and Baal mean the same thing in Hebrew. Both of them mean husband or master. But God says, don't use Baal. Don't call me that anymore. Use Ishi. And if we go check the commentaries, it says, because of its idolatrous association, the Israelites were outlawed. Let me finish.
What commentary?
Just the contemporary commentaries that we have.
Oh,
I know
contemporary commentaries.
I know you're Orthodox, so maybe you don't like that. But
no, don't respect it at all.
Yeah, that's besides the point. So,
I'd like to get back to chapter 2 because what I'm seeing, there's no evidence.
Just one second, Father Joseph. What are you arguing here exactly? Because it seems like we're on the same page. I don't know what you're pushing back on.
Well, my point is that in Hosea, he's literally talking about the people worshiping.
What do you think I'm arguing?
I think you're trying to argue basically that because the generic term Baal can have a meaning that can be discarded because of associations with it, that is part of the reason why father was not a preferred term by the prophets, even
I
though...
I didn't say that. Yeah, so you're missing my point. I didn't say father is not a preferred. I didn't say that. I said just as terms could be outlawed, although they have a correct meaning, because Baal in Hebrew just means master or husband, and God uses the term for himself. I'm your husband. I'm your Baal. Although the term has a correct meaning, just wait. The term is outlawed, similar to father. The prophets used father, but the term, because of your idolatrous usage of it, was later outlawed by the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yes.
No, I would say that usage has not been terminated. But since you are you're going by the teachings of the prophet, etc.
Yeah.
I'd love to get back to Hosea because that verse is very interesting in its translation.
Well, I just told you what it like. You're not even understanding it, but you think I'm saying something else. I'm saying similarly to what you have there, how God says, "Don't call me Baal." God says, "Don't call me Father anymore."
Right. And what I would say is A, that's wrong, and B, on verse 17 of that same book, of that same chapter, it says, I will take the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and she shall no more remember their name.
That's right.
This implies that we're talking about a name. We're not talking about a descriptive term.
Yeah. Sir, you're missing the point. So the term in the Hebrew Baal, is not a name. But because
it is in this case a name.
Yeah, in the case of false deities. But I'm saying because that name coincides with the Hebrew term that the Israelites used for God to call him their husband. Okay.
That's not what they were doing. They were worshiping false gods.
Sir, does he say don't call me Baal anymore? Yes or no?
He says, I will take the names of the Baalim out of her mouth, and she will remember them no more.
In verse 16, does he say,
this is verse 17.
Wait, does he say, don't call them Baal? Does he say, don't call me Baal?
He says, she will no longer call me Baal because they were worshiping falsely.
Okay, were they calling the God of Israel Baal or a false deity Baal?
They were worshiping another deity and calling it the God of Israel.
Good. So why does he say, no longer call me Baal?
Because in earlier verses, they were worshiping false gods.
Okay, so the God of Israel is the false God they were worshiping?
No, you keep saying that, but that's not what it says.
So then why does he say, don't call me Baal?
Because they don't exist. They're dead. So the only person they're praying to, that's my point. The only person that they're praying to is him, despite the fact that they're trying to worship false gods.
Good. So the false deities they're worshiping is the God of Israel.
No. He's saying that they are wasting their sacrifices on false gods and must return to him.
Right. So he says, no longer call me Baal, instead call me Ishi, right?
But he doesn't. He didn't say Ishi here. But the whole point is
he does say Ishi in the Hebrew.
Okay. Well, then we can look at the Hebrew. But the whole point is, the whole point of this is that it is not about them using the wrong name for God.
It is, because he says, don't call me Baal, instead call me Ishi.
I hate to be obtuse on this point, but the whole point is not that they were calling him the wrong name, but that they were worshiping the wrong God.
Okay. So in worshiping the wrong God, he said, guys, don't use Baal for the wrong God. Instead, use Ish for the wrong God. Correct?
I feel like the personal relationship that he has with his people is being missed on you. Like he's not like offering divine instructions to worship the right God.
You're just not answering the question. He says,
well, no, it's because you're giving a false dilemma.
So he says, don't call me Baal. What you're saying is, well, because they were worshiping false deities and really they don't exist, so they were calling him Baal, correct?
Well, the false deities are demons, if we're going to be honest, but they're not gods.
Okay, good. So when he says don't call me Baal, he's not actually referring to himself, right?
No, because they're worshiping, probably they were using the same worship with the wrong names.
Sure. So he's not referring to himself. Check this out. The rest of the verse, instead call me Ishi. So he's saying, instead call the false god Ishi?
That she shall call me my husband and call me no more Bali. You vanished. You said let's look at this. Now you're like disappeared.
Give me a second. I'm gonna get it.
Okay, yeah. Take your time. Take your time. Everything all right? Something happened? Uh-oh. Just reading the comments, guys. Something happened to the camera. Maybe it needs to just be. Sometimes the plugs get loose. Trust me, I understand completely. Things like this happen. It's full. It's just they happen. We'll be back soon. There it is. See, it's working again. All right. Welcome back.
All right, let's make this quick because I got somewhere to go.
All right, can I ask my question?
Yeah, sure. So, but remember, you got caught because you said
I didn't get caught.
You did because you said they're worshiping him. He's saying when he says, "Don't call me Baal," that's not actually referring to him. But then he says, "Instead, call me Ishi." So then the false god that the worship.
Yeah, my husband, right?
So but call the whole false god husband, right?
No, he's the real God. That's why he's talking.
So then he's referring to himself. Then he is talking about himself.
But he's saying that the people are worshiping the wrong God.
He says, like, "Don't call me Baal." So he's the wrong God.
I highly recommend everyone just read the whole chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, what's your question?
My question is, I know that there are verses in the Quran that deal with the You're gonna have to correct how I say it. The Injil.
Yes.
Okay. Like I know that like we're referred, like we the Christians are referred to the Injil in the Quran. Like we have to go back to the Injil to understand. Correct?
What do you mean go back to the Injil?
Well, that's what the verse says. Something like go back to the Injil and the Torah for understanding.
It says that the people of the book shall judge by what Allah has revealed therein and what has come to them.
Yes, there we go. Perfect. Yeah. So, which one? There's four Injils in the New Testament. Well, it's the Injil according to each one. So those are good for understanding. If I understand that, I'm good with like Islam.
No, yeah. So, like our earliest exegetes say, that's referring to the jurisprudence rulings that are given by Christ, as long as they don't contradict the Quran, because what follows the verses and what has been revealed to you from your Lord. So, you are to observe the Torah, the Gospel, and what has been revealed to you from your Lord, the Quran. The Quran's authority over the Gospel and the Torah, just like Christ was an authority over the Torah. And so, you are to follow the Torah, the teachings of the Pharisees, like he says in chapter 23, but when Jesus disagrees with their interpretation, you have to follow the interpretation of Christ. So Christ has
okay, right? Okay, so following with the Torah, you have to follow the interpretation of Christ. Okay,
right. And let me. So it's like it sounds like you got the last half and not the first half. So when you follow the gospel and the Torah, this is referring to min bab al-amr wa nahi. So regarding its rulings on jurisprudence, as long as they're not abrogated by the Quran.
The Quran abrogated some of the rulings of the gospel?
Yeah, just like Jesus abrogated some of the rulings of the Torah.
I don't know that he abrogated them, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, he did. Let's go through them right now. Can you
sure.
divorce? Can you divorce?
You're not supposed to, no.
Yeah, you're not supposed to, but can you?
For adultery.
Oh, okay. But outside of adultery, can you divorce?
No.
Okay, in the Torah, can you divorce?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he abrogated it.
Well, he didn't abrogate it. He actually stated that
was
was
definition of abrogation.
Well, no, I would disagree. I would say. Well, can we go to the verse in the? Before
we go to the verse, abrogation is when something is permissible at one point, and later it is no longer permissible.
Right.
Did that happen?
No.
So it was never permissible to divorce?
Right. If you read what Christ said there, can we go to it? Well, you can laugh, but can we just go to the verse?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm not a dramatic person.
It's in Matthew 15, I think. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Matthew 15. Let's go.
Yeah. Matthew 5, sorry, not Matthew 15.
Okay, great.
All right, here we go.
All right, so let's see what it says. Okay,
here we go. So it has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you, anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery.
Can you click the full chapter thingy?
Sure.
Thank you.
Verse 31. Let's go.
Not a big fan of the NIV, but still.
That's fine. So then, was divorce permissible?
Hold on. Yeah, that's not the right one. Give me a second.
All right. All right.
If you bear with me, I'm not. It's not a disagreement. It's because these the Gospels, as you know, have different wordings. Some with more explanatory tones than others.
Because they're plagiarized from one another. That's why.
They're not plagiarized. They were written by individual writers.
No, they weren't. That's consensus scholarship, by the way.
That's modern scholarship, which is disproving itself desperately.
Which is greater than anything Saint Irenaeus of Lyon ever said.
I disagree. Okay, that's utter garbage. I'm sure you apply that same standard to Islam.
No, I don't.
How?
Islam is online with scholarship. Christianity is on the other side.
I disagree completely. I think that it's the other way around, and you want to present it differently.
Well, that's why we're here. So.
Okay, go to Matthew 19:8-9.
That's a completely different chapter, completely different.
But, but it's the same book, so it's the same author.
Yeah,
and it's
but,
the
no, but
same
I asked about divorce though.
But can we right? And I'm telling you,
So
go to Matthew 19:8.
Matthew 19:8. Okay, let's go there. Here it says, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard, but it was not this way from the beginning. That's what it says.
In other words, the standard had never changed from Old Testament.
Okay, wait, but that's not what I asked. I said, was it permissible?
It's not an issue, was it? But you're asking what the rule is.
Was it permissible?
By God? Originally, no.
By God, show me that in the Torah.
I just showed you that from the gospel.
No, show me that in the Torah. Because you said
no.
in the Torah, Torah it's not allowed.
Well, no, you asked me if it was allowed in the Torah.
Is it allowed in the Torah?
Explaining why. Yes, because of the hardness of their hearts.
Okay, good.
Because the people were flawed.
Good. So that it was allowed and later no longer allowed.
No, it was originally not allowed, but the people were so rotten, God allowed it. So
okay,
no.
so then it was not allowed.
Right.
Then he allowed it. Then he canceled it again. That's
right, because he realized he had better people.
There you go. So that's abrogation. So you just
that's not abrogation. It's the original rule.
That's what abrogation.
Unless you're saying what Moses did was abrogation.
No, Moses didn't abrogate Moses.
No, what I'm saying is the original law of God was abrogated by Moses for divorce, and Christ was returning it to its original.
Yeah, if you're claiming that the original law, which there's no evidence for, that's
literally what Jesus just said.
Okay. Oh my God! 1 second.
Camera problems, they happen. Hope is all right.
All right. So
by the way, someone offered to donate a camera.
No, it's okay. I have a good camera. It's fine. Oh. Anyway, so you're saying if you're claiming that there's an original magical law that existed,
just true.
Right, there's no evidence for it, if that's the case. But there's an original law that existed that didn't allow divorce. Then Moses came and he allowed divorce. Then Jesus came and he took it back. Then that still would be abrogation. So that's fine.
Okay, so this list of abrogations that we're talking about that Christians need to follow, that's the Injil according to the Quran.
Yep.
Where can I find it?
Yeah, sure. You'll find that in documents like Q. You find that in
Q?
in Matthew. Yes.
Q is just pieces of manuscripts.
No, it's not. There's no manuscripts for Q actually.
Well, we're assuming Q is,
There's no manuscripts for Q. Okay.
Is that how can we read what you can't see?
No, you can't see it. You want me to tell you what it is?
Q? No, I feel like you're going to say the Quran, but now you're going to be on Q, and I want to know.
I'm going to tell you exactly what the Injil is. Are you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
Right. The Injil are the oral teachings, parables, and prophecies of Christ that he makes in his lifetime he receives from God. And
so like the apostolic canon. So
let me finish. No, it's not. And when we apply our historical rigorous methodology, we could find out that the historical Christ was an apocalyptic preacher. He preached the kingdom of God to come. He had 12 disciples. As a matter of fact, the parables and the teachings found in the Gospel of Matthew, about 90% of the 85% of them are Islamic in nature. And I could say Q because that represents a historical Christ.
But there is no Q, is there?
There is Q. Q is everything, a double tradition found in Matthew and Luke that we don't find in Mark, assuming the two source hypothesis.
Wow, you know a lot about this modern biblical criticism, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and And if you had time studying it, you wouldn't be wasting your time being whatever you're doing now.
Well, I'm actually Orthodox, so we don't believe in any of these ridiculous modern 20th century theories. No, they're hypotheses.
Because if you had studied the New Testament text critically, you wouldn't be worshiping three gods and wasting your time.
I don't worship three gods. I worship one God in Trinity.
According to Gregory of Nyssa, then you have to count three gods if you count the way we count things.
I don't think Gregory of Nyssa ever confessed three gods, so that's.
I didn't say he confessed three gods.
He kind of just said he.
I didn't say that. I said according to Gregory of Nyssa in his letter on Not Three Gods, he says that if we were to count things by the way we usually count, we would count three gods. And so we count by division in order to count one God. We count one nature by division. But that's not the way we count things. That's why Gregory of Nyssa says we should change the ridiculous habit of counting things by identity, and we should start counting things by division. So there's three men in a room. We should count one man because really there's one human nature.
Okay, well, first off, I'd love to see the quote from St. Gregory of Nyssa.
It's not a single quote. That's what he says in the whole letter. It's literally called On Not.
So this is an okay, so let's look at On Not Three Gods for a second, if you've got that much time. I have a feeling it's not going to say what you think it says.
Okay, well, it's just you've clearly not studied your fathers.
Well, no, I've studied them quite well. That's why I'm very confident it doesn't say what you think it said.
All right. So what analogy does Gregory of Nyssa give for the Trinity?
Let's take a look.
But you said
Not Three Gods. I have studied them, but that doesn't mean they're considering that there's thousands and thousands of pages. You haven't either. So let's not pretend claims.
I've read almost every letter of the Cappadocians.
The Cappadocians are three fathers.
That's right.
Hundreds.
That's right.
Hundreds.
But those three fathers make up the majority of your doctrine anyway. Besides Gregory of Palamas and John of Damascus, those are your most influential church fathers.
Well, I would say that they are very influential, but all of the fathers, in consensus, must be used to understand things.
Yeah,
it just can't. Right. So
that's fine.
I'd love to have a discussion on the Cappadocian fathers if you want to set up a time for it. I have no problem with that.
We can have I'm going to show you how they were all tritheists, polytheists who worship three gods.
And I'm going to disagree with you. That's why I said we could have a discussion on it separately.
Of course you are. But yeah, so how is there one God? How would you count one God?
There is only one God.
Yeah, which counting method are you using?
Counting method?
How are you counting one when there are three?
I count one God.
How? When there are three with divinity?
Three persons.
That's right.
One singular essence.
So why don't we count three gods?
They're not three gods. They're three persons in the one.
That's fine. I'm asking why can't we count three gods?
Because they're not separate from each other. They're indivisible.
Oh, nice. Are the energies separate from each other?
The energies are okay. What are you trying to say? Explain that, because the energies, the essence of God.
You believe in essence energy distinction, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Good. So, do you believe the energies are separable from one another?
What do you mean by separable?
Can they be separated from the essence?
Not completely. No.
Good. How many? Are there many energies or one energy?
It's technically it can be split into any number of things.
Oh, okay. Nice. So
do you understand the difference between essence and energy?
Yes, of course. So
what's the difference?
I'll tell you the difference in a second. So separability does not mean that you count one of that type, right? Because otherwise you would count one energy of God. The energies of God are how God interacts with his creation. They are his
Absolutely right.
How God interacts, his love, his anger, his mercy. This is how he interacts with the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are the energies of God. Okay, and Gregory of Palamas breaks that down, quite well. But anyways, you're right. So your argument was that we don't count three gods because they're not separate, but the energies are not separate. Then we don't count one energy; we count many energies.
Mm-hmm. That's all true.
So then why the argument why we count one God instead of three gods?
Well, because it is one God. When we're talking about the energies,
this is just one water bottle. I can
No,
say
it's,
that.
well, it's
say
not
that.
true. You can.
How many?
There's two of them.
How many bottle natures are there?
Bottle natures? There's only one.
Yeah. Well, so why don't we count one bottle then? If there's one.
Well,
nature.
they are of one bottle nature, but they are two bottles.
They share the same essence.
Well, I have no idea how the essence of plastic works.
What do you mean?
However,
they have the same universal
they're
nature.
plastic bottles. You're comparing God to plastic bottles.
No, I'm using the same principles that apply universally. So when we count things, we count by distinction, not by division. So there's two human beings. We have one human nature. We don't count one human, we count two humans. Likewise, when there's two instances of divinity, one divine nature, we count two gods or three gods instead of one god, sir.
And
So
what
that's
happens
why
when
we're
you're doing that
calculating.
with water? If you have two glasses of water, the properties of water are exactly the same in both. However, and water isn't uncountable like
Right.
God.
And guess what? Water doesn't work because water and gold and steel and things of that nature are mass terms. Do you believe that God is some kind of stuff that the person shares?
No. God, I believe God is outside in his essence of everything.
Okay, good. So then it doesn't work because when we say there's two water bottles and how many waters we count, well, we count one water, but that's because water is a mass term. This is just a linguistic fix. Okay, we don't say there's two bodies of water. Okay, we don't say there's two.
You can't
waters.
actually say there's two bodies of water.
No, I understand, but in your analogy, when you're saying, look, there's this and this, how many waters are there?
Well, I
Well,
wasn't
there's-
saying that.
there's one
That's
water.
your analogy.
No, you're the one who used it. You said, what about water? You just said it. You said, what
Right,
about
but you're the
water?
one who created the bottle analogy. I didn't.
Yeah, so that's a mass term. It doesn't
What does
work.
this have to do with the Trinity? It's like holding up three bottles of water doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, I'll tell you, because you have three instances of one nature, and yet you count one God. But when we have
Right.
when we have two instances of humanity, you count two humans. When we have two
Because
instances
they're two beings.
Okay,
They're
then
two
your God
separate
would be
beings.
three. Then instances are beings. So then your God is three beings, three gods.
Well, he's a triune being. He
Okay,
has three
and-
persons in his nature.
Now, what you're asserting that, I'm saying, what justifies that? Why is it one God instead of three gods? You're not
We
giving me-
believe that that's what. Well, we believe that that's what was taught through the apostles and fathers. That's why you do
Well,
find expressions of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in Scripture.
Well, no, they didn't teach that at all because there's not a
No,
single
that's not true.
There's
That's-
not a single ante-Nicene father who taught consubstantiality.
Well,
not a
oh, boy.
single one of them.
I-
Not
I-
Martyr, not Theophilus, not Athenagoras, not Tatian.
If you'd like to go, you
not
can list off the
Ignatius,
names all you want, but if
nobody,
you want to go
none of them,
through
no.
those, I
But
don't
do it.
think you actually have studied this.
Okay,
And
well,
frankly,
well,
I think you're just listing off names. That's why you mentioned Q, this fantasy hypothesis from modernist scholars.
all right.
Now you're listing off a list of fathers you didn't read. How
Well,
about this?
actually,
We can have a
Dr.
discussion on it if you want to,
You
with
said,
the
you said
actual
it's a,
quotes.
just wait, you said it's a fantasy hypothesis, but it's
That's
been
correct.
consensus in the 1800s. And Dr. John.
Yeah, by
Perkins-
German liberal scholars. Okay.
Well, those
No, German liberal scholars wrote it. That's why.
Those German liberal
Stands for
scholars.
12.
Yeah, those German liberal scholars have given us critical value of this text more than any of your so-called Greek pagan church fathers have given.
I disagree.
Not
Greek
even
pagan
anything.
church fathers.
Yeah.
How about your pagan German theologians?
Well,
So you want to throw names off?
They're certainly pagan, but they were smart pagans, not like your church.
Okay,
fathers.
yeah, well that's typical. Follow the smart pagans. Good job.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, I follow the
yeah.
enlightened Christians. So those church fathers you call pagans, the ones that you just listed off but didn't read. I mean, we can have a discussion on it. Do you want to have this? You want to have a discussion on that or no?
Yes,
Not
I'd
today,
love-
obviously. You're busy.
I'd love to have. Yeah, I'm actually. I'm not even home. I'm traveling, but yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'd love to have a discussion. How about this? I'm gonna start a live just for you, actually, tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna start
tomorrow. Let me think. To be fair, can I have a second to think? Because tomorrow,
yes,
I think I should be able to. I think I should.
Yes,
I'll have
start
to. I've got to ask. I have to ask my wife. So if I have to cancel, I'll apologize on stream. I'm trying to think.
No worries. We'll
What
start
time?
Let's do it around same time tomorrow.
So like around when do we start? Like 8:30, I guess, or
Right now it's 9:30. So
right now it's not. Yeah, but we've been talking a while. So
yeah, so 8:30. 9 sounds good.
Can you give me a second? I'll go ask my wife. It's the right thing to do. That's how I do things.
Sure thing, man. Sure thing. But just make it quick because I gotta go.
Right. It'll be 30 seconds.
Sure, man. Go ahead. Q rejects Jesus as the Messiah. Are you stupid? Of course Q doesn't reject Jesus as the Messiah. No, it's not a formal debate. It's just going to be a discussion, guys. Just a discussion. Guys, I wasn't calling the uncle stupid. I was calling somebody in the comments. People just...
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow at 9's great.
Sounds good.
Can we share the stream? Because like I know that sometimes you can do that because I have my own channel too.
Sure, we can do it. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, awesome.
Tomorrow at 9. If you can message my Instagram, we'll talk. It'll be just an unmoderated discussion, just a regular discussion, and we could go through everything that we should have gone through today, but I'm busy. So
yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see you
tomorrow.
Sounds
good, Father Joseph. Have a good one, brother. Thank you.
All right, you too. God bless.
Hey guys, thank you so much. I gotta go now. Thank you everybody who.
Okay. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Yeah. So then we had the stream yesterday. I did not realize he said contact me on Instagram, so I wrote him at 9:04. He didn't answer. So I ended the stream. I took it as my fault. And so that was fine. He did write earlier this morning, and he ended up saying that he got really busy and couldn't do it anyway, but that just we'll look for a time and date we can work on. So that's on the table. I'm kind of looking forward to see what he has to say about the church fathers when we actually open the actual books. Like we did with Hosea. So let me see here. Percival has been collecting fallacious appeals, it appears. Brian Seamus Gargan, reverse the burden of proof. He promotes a deity that promotes incestual relations with his stepbrother's daughter. YouTube precludes me from stating explicitly when his stepbrother remonstrated. Romo asked, Father Joseph, what is an Orthodox Muslim? I missed it if he said what it is. I believe it's more of a marketing term, although there is a use for the term Orthodox Islam, which is basically Sunni Islam of the kind of the more popular the schools. However, let me see. Percival says appeals listed incredulity, straw man, ad hoc ergo proctor, intellectuality, populum ad absurdum. Yeah. Well, he's not gonna. I doubt he's gonna post that video at all because, he wasn't happy with it. But I will now that it's clipped in my stream, so I'll do that tomorrow. But I know he uses Itvas, correct Muslim. Yeah, you need to understand what the Quran actually says. Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed when he started appealing to Q, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. So it was just ridiculous. Oh, that's Jay Dyer. It's now 17 days since we've invited him to debate on Vocab Malone's channel. Since he's not responding, and it seems like his fans are now telling me one by one to leave him alone. I feel like I need to put the pressure on because we know Jay doesn't ever stray from a fight, ever. So yeah, Toronto Bumpkin, almost 18 days now. And I'm keeping this thing on. I'm keeping it on. It's just gonna become part of a regular rotation. So in any case, we'll keep it there. But again, we did. This is only possible. We are doing a 3-hour stream, which will end in about 15 minutes because of the generosity of our community here. We broke down to $371 for the weekly target, meaning we have made $129 for the day. I was originally going to go 2 hours. I think that's going to be my regular rule, unless we can get it up because I need to pay bills and stuff. So anyway, let's see here what we got here. Since it is a bonus hour, I'm just putting up every thing I can. Without lies, Islam said Muhammad affirmed the scriptures Christians had in their hands. He called them the Injil. Exactly. And he did the same with the Torah, which he called the Torah. I knew that he was going to say something, but that's why I kept pushing for what is Q. If it's Q, where can you get it? Because there is no Q. It's just made up. Lamont says he won't debate you because you don't have a big enough audience. That is absolutely untrue. He debates lots of people with smaller audiences. He only debates people that he can beat. Before, debate him. After, leave him alone. Absolutely. Sharif says, when you say to a human his spirit, that means it's the spirit that dwells in him. When you say to a God is a spirit, that means God's created spirit, like when a human says, my car, my house. But you're missing my point. The spirit animates a human being. If Allah has a spirit, then how was he able to make a spirit if he didn't have a spirit? Liiano was debating some Christian dude earlier today. He brought up Q in that debate too. Yeah, he thinks that's like his ace in the hole, and it's really not. So I'm waiting to see when we debate. It should be interesting. He'll probably bring that up again. Yeah, Liiano. We have manuscripts from that time and before. I know what they had. We know what they had in their hands. Absolutely. Allah forbade us from cherry picking our scriptures, or He will send us to hell. Yeah, well, I know. But, Arthur Just says, gotta commit immigration jihad now. Romogata says, did Rokor send the letter to the MP about the issues ongoing? If so, what might become of it? Realistically, the MP probably ordered Rokor to write something like that. Rokor MP, not the rest of Rokor who are free people. Without lies, our scriptures debunk the Quran. Absolutely. Absolutely. We didn't even get into it there because I was just so surprised that his weird interpretation of Hosea, where he was trying to argue that Baal wasn't a real Canaanite deity. It just seemed so ridiculous. But in any case, yeah. So we're at the kind of the end of our live Q&A. Anyone can pop in still for the next 13 minutes if you want to, or ask your questions in the chat. Because this was provided by Super Chat Victory, all comments are going up on the screen unless they violate terms of service. So whatever you guys want to continue talking about, I'm going to increase my screen with this new setup that it has. I wonder if let me see here. Okay, that's you see I can read these. I can read everything, and it's amazing. So yeah, now you can see me without without the labels. So this is pretty funny. But in any case, so hopefully we will. Right now, it looks like the status of our debates is the one that is confirmed is against Adam Coptic on August 5th at 9 on the the Gospel Truth channel. And so let me see here. Or there just says, my bad, I'm going to be banned with all my Islamophobia. No, not necessarily. I mean, you're in a safe space here. You're among friends. Father, do you think the Hindenburg blink was an inside job to make us use planes to give us radiation and use Rockefeller oil? I never thought about that one. That's kind of dark. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole plane thing to me is still, somewhat sketch. I kind of prefer boats. His point was that God said to stop using a certain Hebrew word that used to be okay because it was the name of the false god, so he made it illicit from that point forward. 2 RCC notes on Catena agree. Well, they can, but all you have to do is read the chapter, and it begins talking about the whoredom of the bride and the wasting of resources on Baal. and on false gods. The whole point is, his point in saying that is, my God, I'm God, my beloved, I'm going to take care of you. You use the proper name for me because you are wasting your incense on false gods. That's the whole purpose of it. You're wasting your rice and other things that they were sacrificing. So yeah, I think that's that's a weak interpretation. Reckon Keys said, did you know the Titanic was an inside job because there were several people against the enactment of a central bank? I've heard that one. I have. So, I'm on the Titanic. Right. Yeah, I know. Percival says, this has been fun, gang. If you guys would like to come back like me to come back sometime, I'm happy to do so. Have a good night. You're always welcome, Percival. Always welcome. So thank you for showing up, and glad to see glad to get another great person to discuss. Trying to set up a dawa to refute his points. Metathrono says, what's the role of relics in Orthodoxy? Relics can be found as far back as the Acts of the Apostles, and they can be found in the Old Testament in the bones of Elisha and in the Acts with the handkerchiefs of St. Paul. The point is that things that touch holy people, things that have been in contact with them, can almost they can almost be used to draw how do I put this? Like to draw grace, for lack of a better word. In the same way, like the woman who touched the hem of Christ's garment was able to heal through faith. So that's that's kind of where that comes from. But sometimes it can appear grotesque to an outsider, but it is there in the scriptures. Moreover, brethren says, don't call me bottle fallacy. Atomically trust the plan. Q dawa. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a good argument, but he was just very good at saying, okay, hold on. But what happens when you don't have a time limit? I'll just let you hold on. And then when you're done, I'll say, okay, so where's Q? Oh, it's there somewhere. No, it's not. I'm not going to let that go. But then his camera went off and you heard a whole bunch of noise and, hope he's okay. Ortho just says, I don't think he'll have you on again. I have a feeling you might be right. So, which is the most grotesque of relics? Well, I mean, relics, or they're the remains often of saints. So, on Twitter, a very famous one that was freaking people out was there were some old believers who I guess had lifted the foot of a saint that had already kind of shrunk. It appeared to be incorrupt, but it had kind of shrunk and was dry. And they used it to bless holy water or something like that. And there were some people, this freaked out a lot of people on X. They were like, what's this? Is this Burger King foot religion? And, it was bad. But Recon says, Father, what do you think about the ether and free energy and Rockefeller try to scam us that free energy exists? Well, I mean, it was Tesla, I think, who first kind of suggested that. I think there were some others behind it. There is free energy in the air. It's just a question of whether you have a proper collector. And so the claims are that there are collectors that are capable of working as well as other things. I haven't seen it. Without lies, Islam Dad says even the hypothetical Q debunks Islam because it proves Jesus is God. So dumb. Well, yeah, I think that when they were trying to construct Q, they were trying to at least come up with something that matched the Orthodox Christian position. Happy Hour says, after debates with Justin from Deconstruction Zone, do you feel victorious or did he send you to the cemetery? That's a great question. Actually, because people have been asking me for the video, it turns out that our friends at The Machine Lies asked me on to do a review. It should be ready to put up tomorrow, most likely. And you will see that he definitely did not send me to the cemetery. He definitely wanted to send me to the cemetery. He couldn't do that with an argument, so he just had his fans threaten me. Let me see. Savez says, can you pull up a reconstruction of Q and show us where it says Jesus is God? I'm not a big Q guy. From what I understood, Q was hypothetical, and it was a construction of different documents or reconstruction of different documents. But it does say that, I'm pretty sure. It wasn't like saying anything contradictory to the Gospels. It was trying to explain the common origin of the Gospels. So let's go back here, and I am checking Chicken, not chicken. Lava chicken. Anyway, so let me see here. Well, according to Mr. Without Lies, it does, and yeah, Without Lies Islam Dies says DZ Justin is a clown. I'll just put that on the screen because he deserves it. Well, yeah, I mean, you could argue with him about it. You could ask, but the best thing you could do if you wanted to understand is, Savas, type in Q hypothesis in Google and just start reading, and you'll learn all about it. I don't agree with it. I think the traditional patristic interpretation is sufficient. However, if you want to read more, go ahead. Just Google it. Read the Hindenburg blimp and how awesome it was to travel on a blimp. I'm tempted to. I might if I have the time. He even said quickly, assuming the two-source Matthew and Luke hypothesis, which is a big importation to make an asterisk. Yeah, I think that's actually the two-source hypothesis is related to Q, so that makes sense that he would say that. But he clearly doesn't understand the traditional original position that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote the Gospels independently. And that's, that's just too bad. Let me see here. All right. And so here we go. I obviously that was this. I will try this again next Sunday, where we'll do 2 hours. And if you guys want to hit me up for another hour, we'll definitely do that. We are now in the 56th minute of the third hour, which means we're going to be finished in about 3 minutes. So let's see here. But I don't see any more questions. And I want to just say this was a very interesting show. We had Father Boniface. We had Jeem come on, and then we had this whole thing with Liiano. And yeah, it probably is going to be the last time he ever talks to me. But yeah, in any case, yeah, it's been great in that sense. And what I will do here is I will just let's see. Any last questions? Because we got 2.5 minutes to go. I'll take this as a mercy to Jay Dyer. I will take this off for today. Let me see. Let's see. Metathrono says thoughts on panpsychism, the idea that everything is conscious. As wrong as this is going to sound, I don't believe everything's conscious, like rocks and stuff. But on the idea like plants, I mean, it makes one uncomfortable. I've heard that they're trying to say that's vegetables scream and stuff like that. So I will just go with not really, probably not. I do make a distinction between the living and non-living. Red Conquista says Paul Ulrich is a Jewish doctor who's the father of modern immunology. Paul Ulrich? Really? Isn't that the guy that wrote The Population Bomb? Maybe I'm getting the two confused. Governor Abdullah says, yeah, that was clutch. Without Lies, Islam Dies says, what's the beef with Jay? I love Jay. He lies a lot about us, and he recently did on a Ruslan segment. He lies about true Orthodox people in general. True Orthodox Christians comprise, in the millions throughout the world, and he tries to pretend we don't exist because we're, more internally consistent than what you would call a patriarchal orthodoxy. But it's the lies that bother me, and the fact that he's, trying to wall people away from us. So that's my thing. And you can watch the Jay Dyer Lies thing I did a few days ago, or the vocab Malone thing. We've talked about it a little bit in the past month. Another Jewish doctor who has been key discoveries in MRI tech and Nobel Prize winner 2023. Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff that is not great. And you have to be careful about a lot of these new medical technologies. A lot of them are not safe. Anyway, I'm going to close by saying thank you to everyone, to our guests, to all of our guests, to our listeners, to those who had questions and had comments, and those who support our mission. Thank you to Bishop Enoch, to Father Boniface, to Jeem, to Barnold and to the other guy, the Synod guy with the game developer, to those who had questions and those who had comments and those who support our mission. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net and on Give, Send, Go. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, if you felt this was helpful, please like and subscribe. May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, through the prayers of the Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Good evening.